I'd like to bring to order the Tiverton Town Council meeting of April 24th. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I just want to point out, since Ms. Anderson's here, that it's supposed to be one nation under God, not one nation pause under God. And I've ever since you mentioned that down the street, I do it that way.
He's picking on you, Susan, right now, I think.
No, it was impactful, and I do it every meeting.
Jeannie?
Roll call. President DiMedeiros.
Here.
Vice President Burke.
Present.
John Edwards V.
Present.
Counselor Janik.
Present.
Counselor Edwards.
Present.
Counselor Milborn is absent, and Counselor Paul.
Present.
Thank you. The Town of Tiverton, Rhode Island Town Council proclamation. Donate Life Month, April 2024. Whereas one of the most meaningful gifts that a human being can bestow upon another is the gift of life. And whereas approximately 2,800 Americans received a life-saving or enhancing organ transplant last year, and whereas a new patient is added to the national patient waiting list for an organ transplant every 10 minutes, and whereas more than 118,000 men and women and children are currently on the national waiting list for organ transplantation, of which 4,000 are in New England, and whereas an average of 18 people die every day last year awaiting an organ transplant that did not come in time. Whereas the Rhode Island Organ Donor Awareness Coalition is a volunteer-led nonprofit organization diligently working to create awareness about and increase the number of registered organ donors in Rhode Island. And whereas the town of Tiverton supports the Rhode Island Organ Donor Awareness Coalition life-saving mission. And whereas everyone is a potential organ, tissue, and blood donor. Therefore, we, the Tiverton Town Council, do hereby proclamate the month of April as Donate Life Month in Tiverton, Rhode Island, to honor all those who have made the decision to give life, to focus attention on extreme need for organ donation, and to encourage all Tiverton residents to consider giving life through organ donation and to discuss that decision with their family. Proclaim and approve this 24th day of October, 2024. Denise DiMedeiros, Tiverton Town Council. April, I'm sorry. Eugene Raposa.
Good evening. I brought my family here. Michelle, 17 years, had a kidney transplant. And also, she wants to come up with a donor, a living donor. Judy. And also, and it's kind of rare in the whole state and the country, really, my youngest daughter, Bethany, also received a kidney 5 years ago. She's a full-fledged paramedic in the city of Fall River also, and her donor is here, Rachel Marta from Tiverton. And there's one other person here, too, that she's seen what my daughter went through 17 years ago. And she says, oh, it's not bad. She turned around and just gave her a donor to someone. And she finally got to meet the recipient. So April, we push for Donate Life. People said recycle. We recycle trash. Why don't you recycle your organs? You know?
Marianne.
And Marianne. I forgot.
We forgot Marianne.
She's the one that's donor. And my wife. And I'd like to thank you for proclaiming that. I mean, we spoke at the City of Fall River, we State House, and all over the place, just promoting donate life, and don't be afraid. It's an easy thing.
Sign the box.
Sign the box, go to the registry, sign your license, put that little hut on there. So thank you for this proclamation. I have a couple of bags here, if I could leave them here, and some pins for the members in that.
Would you like to announce your benefit on Saturday?
Yeah, this coming May 4th, we're
May
having a fundraiser for my two daughters here. They are competing and representing the state of Rhode Island in the Transplant Games of America in Birmingham, Alabama. The organization out in Waltham don't give them any money but uniforms. So they have to find their own transportation and hotel meals and that. And so we're doing a fundraiser, and of course, Steve Lopes, the Pushy Fireman, will be there performing, so we still have tickets available.
He's
back
over
here.
there, I see him.
So if anybody wants to take it, just go Facebook, my Facebook or my wife's, and you'll see it. You can contact me, and hope to see you there. And actually, she received a gold medal, my first one. And then Bethany received it after. But it's geared to, the athletes really gear like ping pong, cornhole, small stuff, table tennis, swimming, golf. They do nothing big, no wrestling like. Again, thank you for the proclamation and that.
You're welcome. Thank you. Thank you, girls.
Can you get a picture?
Yeah, you want to take a picture? Who do you want a picture with?
Proclamation.
You want with me?
Yeah, come behind us.
Come on over here, everybody. Who's taking a picture? The Portuguese fireman. We use him for many things. He's also a dog park member.
See, together we make one person, right?
And we're graduates of 77.
David Paul on that.
Hang on, one more.
He's a good comedian, but
I didn't say I was a photographer. That's Gene's job. He was the photographer, not me.
I said aye.
thank you.
Huge. And Judy is a huge Red Sox fan. So, guess what the Red Sox are doing to Michelle?
That's the ultimate Red Sox, rivalry. What's the thing? There's a Red Sox, I know, in a Yankees body, it's the ultimate Red
Oh, Red
Sox.
Sox, yeah.
Something like that. Revenge! That's what it is. That's the word. All right, Denise, thank you. That was awesome.
You're welcome. Good luck in the game.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'm sorry.
Thank you, Gene.
You're welcome, thank you.
We tried to stop you.
All right, that was fun. They wanted to hug you in the, they wanted to hug you.
Give them the staff, too.
They always had to hug you. They took you.
Yeah, it's good enough.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. You're putting yours on?
I am.
Madam Chair, do you need to vote on this?
No?
Okay.
Do I?
This is,
Just let us so we can all be part of it.
All right, you want to?
all right, Madam Chair, I make a motion that we approve the proclamation and direct you to sign it.
Second.
Motion's been made in second. All those in favor? We should have done Consent agenda. Approval of Town Council minutes, April 1st, 2024. Special joint meeting, Councilor Edwards abstains, absent. April 1st, 2024. Executive session, Councilor Edwards abstains, absent. April 8th, 2024. Regular meeting, Councilor Edwards, Milborn abstains, absent. April 8th, 2024. Executive session, Councilor Edwards, Milborn abstains, absent. Acknowledge receipts of minutes from boards and commissions and committees. Planning Board 2, Economic Development 1, Historic Preservation Advisory 1, Litter Control Committee 1, and Board of Canvassers 1. Acknowledge receipt of reports. Treasurer Saurette, March 2024 Budget and Revenue Reports. Acknowledge receipts of correspondence. Town of Portsmouth resolution endorsing the 2023 Rhode Island Bike Plan as a guiding document in the planning of transportation-related infrastructure for Portsmouth. Town of Burryville, resolution supporting S 2016 relating to towns and cities' low and moderate income housing. Town of Burryville, resolution opposing HB 7978 relating to subdivision of land. Town of Burryville, resolution opposing HB 7374 relating to town and city zoning ordinance. Town of Burryville, resolution opposing SB 2632 and HB 7958, HB 7951, HB 7980, HB 7981, and HB 7986 relating to subdivision of land, relating to housing and land use. Town of Burryville, resolution opposing HB 7382 relating to towns and cities zoning ordinance. Town of Burryville, resolution SB 2024 S200A related to education, the Education Equity and Property Tax Relief Act. Town of Burryville, resolution regarding education funding formula. Town of Westerly, resolution in supporting safety barriers on bridges over Narragansett Bay. Letter from Paul G. Clifford regarding new fishing regulations. Would any of the councilors like to pull anything from the consent agenda?
Madam Chair,
Yes.
C1.
Anyone else? Like to entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda except for C1?
So moved.
Second.
Motion been made and second. All those in favor? John, acknowledge the receipt of receipts. Treasurer Saurette, March 2024 Budget and Revenue Reports.
So to council, I just wanted to ask a quick question on under 77. This is the revenue side, page 3 at the top right. School housing aid, bond debt. I'm assuming that we get this as a lump sum at the end of the fiscal year. Am I correct?
Right.
Okay. Because it looks like we had a small amount that trickled in at some point. 156,000. We're still waiting on about $1 million.
So,
Where are you?
so, so he's on page 3 of the revenue budget.
Okay.
All right. Up in the upper right-hand corner, I believe that's where he's at.
Yep.
So we do receive the housing aid related to the school bonds in one lump sum. We receive incremental pieces of smaller projects.
Got it.
That were authorized, that will come in, and I think actually some of this money will ultimately be transferred to the capital gaming, so, because they're reimbursements of what we've authorized. I don't know if that's a particular one for this year.
Okay,
But
so-
there are smaller increments for smaller projects, not that were not bonded.
So for instance, the, like the bathrooms at the high
Correct.
school? Okay. All right, so that was one, and then secondarily is account 4907, the hotel tax under State of Rhode Island. I'm assuming that we're well behind on this number as a result of the casino not operating a hotel. Is that correct?
So, yeah, that would be true.
Right here. Same page, yeah, sorry.
That would be true.
Okay, thank you. With that, I'll motion that we accept C1, for C1, I should say.
Motion been made and second. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Public presentation, Josianne, Araujo, Hague, Sahady, and company PC. Presentation of audit report, 6/30/2023. Hi,
Hello.
welcome.
How are you?
Does everyone have their audit? Yeah.
Yes.
I didn't think,
Look at the book or the presentation.
You're gonna,
oh, we have the
you're gonna
book.
start with the big,
Yeah,
the financial statement.
there is a backup to this, though.
There's the UCO statement
There
as
is
well.
there's a UCO statement,
Okay.
which that's just like for the school department. And
Yeah.
then there's a single audit report, which I think is a very like small one.
I don't think we have that one. We don't-
I think Denise requested like for only 5 of those, so I don't know.
I don't think we have that one.
That's in law. We weren't gonna get one of them.
We have this one and we have this one.
Yes, no, it's stapled together. It's like page,
Okay.
Oh, all
it's
right.
like 10 pages in.
Oh. It just doesn't look like hers.
It's after what would be page 4 of the UCO report. Sorry,
All right,
that's not counting the indexes there.
I got it, yeah.
You got it? Okay. Yeah. I'll try to go as quick as I can, because nobody wants to.
No, we have it.
Well, good evening. I mean, Denise is not here, but I always like to thank her for everything that would help with the audit. So everybody has the financial statements in front of them. On page 5 is the auditor report. This is the report.
Could you just bring the microphone closer? Yep,
That's
perfect.
good. Okay. Yeah, so on the page 5 is the audit report. This is our report, and this report is a clean opinion, unmodified, everything went great. There's no findings for the town. I know the statements were late, but that was due to the school department, their software. They have to figure out how to get UCOA all set. All right.
So you don't anticipate that being an issue going forward?
I hope not, because now they already set everything the way it's supposed to be. So it should be, this year, it should be smooth again and should be filed by December 31st. All right, so on page 9, we have the management discussion and analysis. Over here, we provide the objective, easily readable analysis of the financial highlights. Over here also, we talk about the government-wide, that's where we put everything, like the long-term debt, fixed assets, the OPEB liability, the pension liability. And also Denise write a very nice economic factors on page 17. Will give very nice information for the town. So on page 23, that's where we have the governmental funds. So the governmental funds, you have your general fund, you also have your landfill closure, the gaming revenue, the ARPA fund, and the school unrestricted fund. And you also have a column for all the other little funds, that is all the non-major funds. So for your general fund, you ended with a fund balance of 6.7 million this year. The landfill closure, you had about 899,000 left, which I think I talked to Denise, I think this is already closed.
It is.
It is,
Well,
yep. Yeah, by like now. Then we have the gaming revenue fund, which has 6.7 million. The ARPA fund has no fund balance. And then the school unrestricted fund has a fund balance of 1.5 million. So on the general fund, you
But
have.
the gaming revenue is different now, everybody knows that, right? Because they gave 3 million out in November. I just don't want people to think that's what's in there.
Okay, yeah,
Okay.
I mean, this is over 6:30.
Yeah,
Yeah, and there's
yeah.
also items for both gaming and
And
for ARPA, American Rescue,
that's
that
really
we have
not-
allocated,
Right.
but they've not been spent yet.
Yeah.
Okay,
So from the general fund, you have 199,000 that's non-spendable. These are your prepaids. Then you have 930,000 that is committed. Of this 930,000, 490,000 is committed to paving, 314,000 is committed to capital, 45,000 is committed to elections, and 81,000 is committed to revaluations. Yes, And then the unassigned fund balance, I mean, the town can spend any way they'll like to spend.
What page are you on right now?
I'm on
23.
page 23.
You're still on 23?
Yeah,
Okay,
it's still
go
on
ahead.
23, yep,
The bottom line of the fund balances.
yes.
Okay, gotcha.
Then if you turn to page 27, that's your proprietary funds. This is your land acquisition fund, the cafeteria fund, and the early risers fund. Altogether, you had a ending net position of 3.6 million. Now, on page 30 and 31 is your fiduciary fund. These include the pension for the police on this, and also the OPEB for the town and the school. So the police trust fund is funded at 75.46% and has an ending net position of 17.1 million. The town OPEB is funded at 3.36% and has an ending net position of 782,000. And the school OPEB is funded at 5.72% and has an ending net position of 514,000. So from pages 32 to 88, those are all the notes to the financial statements. So if you want to know more about your cash, your fixed assets, your long-term debt, everything is all the details about everything on the notes to the financial statements. Now on page 90, that's your budget to actual. And I have a few highlights about the budget to actual. So the general fund ended with revenue recorded in amount of 1.5 million in excess of the budget. Major favorable variances include 274,000 in intergovernmental revenues, 736,000 in license permits and music fees, and 393,000 in interest income. The expenditures ended the year also for favorable variance of 1.3 million. The most significant favorable variances include 227,000 in general government, 485,000 in finance and administration, 232,000 in public safety, and 239,000 in public works. Also, on the back of the financials, like on page 119, there's details of every expenditures by class. Denise does a great job on that. So the school department budgetary highlights. The school unrestricted fund budgetary surplus of 477,000, and that's on page 93. Resulted in part from salaries and benefits being lower than budget in the amount of 492,000. The school also received additional appropriation from the state in the amount of 252,000 and transfer from the gaming revenue fund of 1.5 million to fund capital projects. And lastly, we have
So their total fund balance is 1.5?
the total fund balance is 1.5. Hold on, let me just make sure.
It's 1.548459.
Yes,
that 93 at the end?
1.548. Yep,
But that would be as of The end of last fiscal
as
year.
of 6/30/2023.
2023?
Yep.
Yes.
So it's,
And there's no restrictions or encumbrances against that balance?
No, well, let me just double check over here.
I don't think there is, but,
They have to be restricted for school use. But-
No.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, but that's
No,
it,
no,
yeah.
that-
But there's no other
No.
restrictions.
Unlike what I was going to ask you
Unlike
about
our
our general
restricted-
fund.
No,
balance.
no, yeah,
Yeah, we have obligated funds
yes,
and.
no,
okay.
no, there's all just for the school use.
Quick question on that. Sorry to interrupt. So when you say there's no restrictions on any of that, I'm assuming their fund balance encompasses some of that 1.521 million that we gave over to them for a CapEx, no?
no?
No, they already,
No.
that 1.5 million is already being pretty much expended.
Okay.
So the 1.5 is what they
Yeah.
have from excess
Excess,
receiving year by year. If you notice, July 1st, 2022, they had 1 million. And
Yep.
then now they have 2023, so they accumulate this.
Yes, because now the surplus for this year was 477,000, so add to the last year of 1 million.
So they didn't spend the 1 million
No,
last
they
year.
did not.
Okay.
So they didn't spend the 1 million, and then they got an additional for something, and now it's 1.5. That's there.
Trend continues, they're sitting on 2 million.
Well, we'll have to compare it to what the new numbers that we got to see.
No, they'd be sitting at 1.5 million, not 2.
No, but what he's saying,
No, if the trend continues, because they had 1 million in 2022,
So
they
what he's
ended,
saying-
they ended 23 at 1.5. So if, again, if they didn't spend any of
Right.
those dollars, their fund balance should be closer to 2. This year,
at
currently.
the next audit, yeah.
of 407.
Yes,
all
if you
right.
follow
Yeah.
the trend. But if anyone was at the school board meeting last night, they're putting 1.4 into their budget,
Supposedly.
supposedly. All right, go ahead.
Apologies, I didn't mean to
Oh, no,
sidetrack you.
that's all right. No. And then on page 164, we have the MTP2. It's required by the state of Rhode Island. So we do our audit, Denise will review, and then she'll send to the state, and they will compare, and that's their report. It has to match up with the financial statements.
So that's basically a transparency issue.
It is a transparency, yeah.
And
They,
this is
they
the-
really check everything, they
Yep.
make sure all the transfers or anything that's going on,
Now, would the Medicare Caid account be in this at all from the schools? Would that be embedded anywhere?
if it should be on the education if they have anything. And they also have,
They show zero.
Yeah.
I think this year there was nothing there, like FY '23.
Under impact aid,
But that's not what they have in
yeah, but that's what it shows.
I'll
in
get
the
back to you on
transparency
that.
portal.
I have to look at
Could
my.
you get back to me
yeah.
on that, because that's not what they're reporting.
I'm gonna write
They're
that
not
down.
reporting zero.
So they're on a cash basis as well, I'm assuming, so, but would they have a receivable? And that's, I think that's what the council is looking for, is, we expend monies out of the general revenue that goes to them for eligible expenses that they seek reimbursement for. Is there some sort of a receivable that they would be holding on their books that
Like,
I don't-
wouldn't be reported on a cash basis, but is it something that they'd be looking to receive?
I know at some point it does affect the audit, because a few years ago they had a big amount in there, and I got called by Mary
Okay,
about
yep.
it. So I was wondering, so it says zero here, but how do you know that? They just report that to you?
Yes, yes.
Because on their budget for this year, it isn't zero.
For FY '20,
All right.
FY '23?
No, it's for
the coming budget.
For the
Oh, for
Proposed budget.
24.
Proposed budget.
yeah, but they
Okay.
just didn't get this proposed budget.
But this is 20, ending
You're right, so what I'm saying is, what did they have in 2023? Or did they spend it, and how did they spend it? You see what I'm saying?
Well,
If-
it makes
if
sense,
they-
because if it's a cash basis, if they didn't receive it in 2023, they receive it in 2024, it's not going to show up in the 2023 audit.
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
That's, I
They
think, what.
receive it every year for the students that are there.
I was just
No,
wondering-
it goes to the, doesn't it go to the state? The state holds on
And
to
then
it, and
they
then it's
pull
what,
it
it depends
out.
on when they pull it, so.
They get it monthly.
No, they don't.
Yeah, they do. I asked them last night. That's what they told
So
me.
Yeah.
this, but in this budget year, I believe they were still part of the regional. And
Oh,
at
so
that
that-
point,
so
the
that might-
regional.
that
had-
would be
NCRS.
different.
That's
That
different.
would be different.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now they're out of the collaborative.
So
Yes,
would you know if
get
they
it
have
monthly.
anything in that other account? You would never know that. Okay.
Can I ask you a weird detail question? So on the following page, you have groups A, B, and C.
One,
How are we defining those?
160.
that is, you have to ask Denise.
Okay, no worries.
All right,
What
because,
page you in?
The next page, 166,
166.
167.
At the top.
You have compensation, Group A, Group B, Group C, then
because the
fire.
state has their website where
Yeah.
they have to dump everything in there pretty much.
Yeah, so
So,
they're matching
and
it
they
up by
separated
municipality.
those classifications. That, I don't know how.
Alright.
It has to be split up by the groups A, B, and C.
Okay.
But there is
Oh.
a method to the,
You know what it might be? The pension. There's the A, if you're in the state
what I
pension, it's the
think it
same
would
with the
be.
teachers. I don't know about municipal, though. You
Well,
have the A group, which is the more seasoned employees, and then the B group, middle of the road, and the C group.
I'll
are-
ask Denise, because
Yeah.
I'm not sure what that
Because there's a
designation
lot
is
of
either.
A's, Mike.
Yeah,
there
cool.
there is, it goes
Yeah,
down
because if
by-
we have,
The pension was my original thought, but then you look at like for education, right? You get the education department.
Where do you
get
see that?
A, B, and C, all the way on the far right on 167. But the state teacher pension actually has like 8 groups in it.
Oh,
yeah, they were divvied up a little bit differently, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that,
I'm sure we can get clarification on that.
Okay.
okay.
Apologies again for derailing you.
No, she was.
it's good. And then the last page is our report on internal controls, and again, there was,
What page is this?
that's 178 and 179.
Are you talking that last?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's the last one.
For the blank page.
Yeah.
And the photo credit.
The photo credit, yeah.
We would
Yeah.
set the photos.
Yeah, this report also was clean, there was no
There's no
findings.
photos.
There's any other questions for the financial
I
statements?
know, I just heard. the
And just to
photo.
be clear, for everybody who's watching at home, when you say no findings, it means like no embezzlement.
No, no embezzlement,
Okay.
all the controls are in place the way they're
To use a
supposed.
term that I've seen recently, nothing's corrupt.
There we go.
So we followed appropriate accounting and auditing standards
Right,
to,
that's what-
Just,
there are
the-
no
the-
findings that we're not following appropriate practice.
Right.
The point that I'm making for those watching at home is that, like, the records are kept correctly.
Yes.
Doesn't necessarily mean the expenditures were done correctly, but it means the
Well,
records
they
reflect
have-
proper.
They have the process in places.
Yeah.
Kidding me, no.
That's all I'm driving at.
So
Thank you.
just one other question before we move on. When you get to the town side of the unassigned free balance of the 5.6 million, we have municipal charter requirements that the town is to preserve 3% of our expenditure base. And to the extent that the town allocated any monies in FY '24 from the general fund to offset the budget, that would also be a reduction of that number as well. So just for the public to be aware that the town is not sitting, well, that might have been cash on June
No.
30th.
No.
It may have some other issues against it.
I think what it is, I think we have 1.9.
Okay,
That's unrestricted in the general fund right now.
well, when we get
I
to
got
when we do the
unassigned.
budgetary process, we'll clarify and
Right,
what
but
that
the
really
last I
is.
talked to her, when I had to go to the school committee, it was 1.9, I
Okay,
believe.
I just wanted,
Yeah,
she's our expert, she's the one who does our book, she knows what our requirements are, she knows what our rules and regulations are.
Exact
And
figure.
she being the auditor, or she being Denise?
Josie, both.
Okay,
But
okay.
Josie does the review of what we do.
You
to
keep
ensure we
Denise in
follow the
check.
rules.
Yes.
Not this Denise, but our treasurer.
yeah, the other day.
There's no keeping me in check.
Now I'm just gonna go quick over the single audit report. So if the town has over 750,000 of federal expenditures, a single audit has to be done. So this year, we had to test the American Rescue Plan and the Assessor. Again, there was no issues with this report. We have a clean opinion, there was no findings. All the records were kept with compliance with the federal government. you have any questions about the single audit, I can, it's very like straightforward.
Vanilla.
Yeah, we have like the federal compliance, we follow everything, and if the town follows everything, there is no
We
findings.
follow the rules.
Yeah.
So,
This is interesting.
UCOA, anything on there or no?
UCOA is really just for it's the school department. The state give us a guideline.
Okay.
They have to separate all their accounts by codes, and we have to pick a sample. It depends on the amount of expenditures. I think over here is 45 transactions. They have some specific transactions that they want us to select from. And we request all the invoices. We have to make sure all those codes, they're spending the money where they're supposed to spend. And they also, the school keeps going back and forth with rides, because you can have no errors. So until you have 0 errors, RIDE doesn't let you go forward.
Okay.
And you cannot even issue the financial statements if you have errors. So there's no issues with the UCOA either.
Okay, thank you.
So can I ask a technical question? Every year as we go through the budgetary process, we hear from the school administration, school committee, that they're running a structural deficit. Can you describe what a structural deficit is versus an actual deficit?
Well, that'll be like a Mary's answer. She would be good to answer that.
So, in your opinion, from doing the review of the FY '23 budget, the schools had not run a deficit, an operational deficit?
No, they're not on a deficit, not for FY '23.
Okay.
They weren't in a deficit in FY '22. I think the last time that I did a comparison, probably for 5 years, I think the last time they were on a deficit was in 2008.
So I think there's a misnomer when it comes to whether or not there are federal ESSER monies, or whether or not there's Medicaid funding or fund balances. That might be accumulation of Medicaid funds that wind up being fund balance, that somehow they're interpreted to be part of their budget, when in fact they are in addition to their budget.
Yeah, they should
So,
look at it as being an addition.
We were just looking for your confirmation that that's what that really is.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Any questions for anyone?
So just to follow up on the administrator, what I'm hearing, if I'm interpreting this correctly, is when somebody says, hey, we have a structural deficit, in the auditor's opinion, there is no such thing as a structural deficit because there was no actual deficit. So
Correct.
for anybody who's paying attention at home, when the school department says at their meetings that they run a structural deficit, they're in fact picking their words very carefully to convey a message that is not what's actually going on.
Correct. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Do you want a bag?
Yeah, take a pen, too.
There you go, see?
Would you like a pen?
Thank you.
Have a nice evening, thank you very much. Sorry.
We did all right. Yeah, yes. I'd entertain a motion to accept the audit.
So moved.
Second.
Motion been made in second. All those in favor? Okay. Public comment. Jamie French, you're down twice. That doesn't mean you have 6 minutes, though.
And your time starts now.
Tricky. Tricky.
I'm kidding.
Well, they're both for the public. They're both for the public comment, right?
One is for public comment, and then I signed up for public hearing.
All right. I do want to make an announcement that under public hearings, B and D will be continued to May 28th. And I will give motions for that. But the reason for that is we're getting all the information that we got at the last public hearing and putting it together. And as you all know it, we're very busy with other things right now. So we are going to have a meeting with the group and get that together. So that's why I'm going to ask the council to continue that. So if anyone's here for those two, I just want to make that
So can
clear.
I, just to be clear, those are the ordinances. B is related to fishing areas, and D is related to parking at Grinnell's and Fogland beaches.
And C is
And
also
parking
related to
fees.
fishing and parking, which
Well,
is
Yeah, I'm
why
not
I'm
talking
here.
about that,
Yeah, but
excuse me.
we're gonna
I'm
do-
trying to clarify for people, Jamie, which ones are being moved to the next agenda.
We are gonna do C because that's a very simple one. We changed instead of the potato farm or whatever it was, we actually wrote the right road.
Madam Chair?
Yeah.
Just point of clarification, since Ms. French decided to sign up for both the public comments and then also the public hearings, I just want to make sure we're clear. So if it's a public hearing, the public has a right to speak, and you do not have to sign
Right.
up in order to do it. But the public comments, we like to get the sign up so that we know, like, if anybody actually wants to speak. So you kind of did additional work you didn't have to for the second part of it.
Yeah, I
That's
just
all.
wondered if anybody was here for B or D, I didn't want them to have to wait.
Okay.
That's why I said it.
Thank you.
Public comment, Jamie.
Okay, public comment. I want to talk about North Tiverton, and I want to talk about revitalization of North Tiverton. You know, I find that revitalization is driven by people. The people, if you make people happy, then that causes and creates economic revitalization. I lived in a neighborhood in another community, and we chose to revitalize the area. So we put in a really nice children's playground. We put in a multi-use loop that people could use for their strollers, a jog on, a roller skate on, and we connected it to a multi-use path. So that was coming toward that area. By doing that, it immediately revitalized the area, which revitalized all of the small shops in the area, because now so within 3 to 5 years, we had a total transformation of an area of town, because we looked at the people and we made it good for the people, and we made quality of life for the people. We didn't pay $100,000 for a proposal to decide how to economically change Main Road. In fact, we took no money. We as a neighborhood, we went for grants, and we built those. We put in the children's playground and the loop and the multi-use path with no town money, or city money. We did it as a neighborhood, and when we finished, we presented it to the town, and they decided to accept it because it was a finished product. And that caused also an involvement and a bonding of the people. And to me, in North Tiverton, we have Bayview, which is the old Bayview Elementary School, and it's just sitting there. It's a beautiful area that we could have children's playground and athletic field. We don't utilize the back of Puncatest. But there's rumors, and I've seen a proposal where we want to take the Higgs Farm, which is a beautiful open space, which would provide walking trails, nature trails, and access to the water. But instead, we want to change the bottom of it to commercial on top of wetland, and the top of it to athletic fields. But we don't need, if we already utilize the areas that we have for athletic fields, we don't have to create new ones. When we heard that there was a committee that was going to revitalize North Tiverton, it was $100,000, we thought people were going to do things like maybe do an uplift or work on one of these areas and put in a new children's playground or upgrade it or make it so handicapped people could work or put in some plants or pots or flowers. But instead, we're getting a $100,000 proposal for a grant, which means nothing. We're not getting anything. Also, train tracks would be a great multi-use
Jamie, your
path.
time's up.
And thank you.
Oh, no, she was signed up.
Oh, I do have somebody else.
She wants to come up on that agenda.
Kathleen Gagnon, Mount Hope Greenway. We're going to be discussing that.
Yes, if the council would allow, I would like to defer my remarks to when, after the presentation of the Greenway proposal.
Sure.
Thank you.
Okay. Public hearing, Ted McCoskey, consideration of sound variance for wedding at 488 Neck Road. on Saturday, June 22nd, 2024, from 3 to 11:30 p.m., and request approval of special event permit. Is Ted here? All right. Hi, Ted. Yeah, come on up, Ted. You can sit down if you're more comfortable. So this is for a wedding.
Yes.
Do you want to tell?
Just so Jeannie has it, your name, actually.
What is your name?
Susan, sorry, Susan Mokarski. Susan Mokarski, the last name is right here.
So you're expecting around 160 people?
Yes,
correct?
I think so.
And the parking will be,
In a field, we're having buses bring people in so that there's no driving and drinking. And so we have a field on our property, and those buses will wait to take the folks back to Providence.
no band or fireworks, just a DJ?
Right.
And possible guitar player later?
Yeah.
So softer music as the night goes on?
Right.
Is
The
that what you-
buses are taking everybody at 11:30. We did this 5 years ago for our oldest son, and it's very nice to have everybody leave in one.
Yeah. At exactly 11:30.
It's really nice, yeah.
Any questions? You'll have bathroom facilities, outhouses?
Yes.
There's a map, there's a map.
Yeah, I know, I'm looking at it.
How big is the tent?
How big is the tent, do you know?
I don't know, I'm sorry.
It fits 160, it says.
Okay.
All right, and they'll have to get a tent, they'll have to do all the
And
appropriate
again, it's the
permits.
same configuration as we had 5 years ago.
All right, any questions?
You cannot ask to be invited, no.
No, I
I think
just,
it's near his house, isn't it?
it is, it's, oh, that's why I punched in the wrong address. I was gonna ask if you were gonna hay the field beforehand, but I was thinking of the wrong field, so, the one in the corner
We
of
actually
Neck.
had planted, they're going to be getting married in a wildflower field, so,
Oh, cool.
Oh, cool.
It's exciting. Congratulations.
thank you. Is that it?
No, wait a minute,
Oh,
we
sorry.
gotta vote.
Madam President,
Yes.
make a motion to approve, I should have had this, the sound variance for the wedding at 488 Neck Road on Saturday, June 22nd, 2024, from 3 to 11:30 PM, and subject to meeting all legal requirements.
Second.
And approval.
And this, oh, I thought it.
And approval.
this approval of a special event permit.
Second that as well.
Motion been made and second. Any further comments? All those in favor? Congratulations,
Thank
have
you.
fun.
Thank you
Good
very
luck.
much.
Hopefully you have good weather.
So as I said before, I would like to entertain a motion to continue 7B and D to May, the public hearings to May 28th.
So moved.
2024.
Second.
Motion's been made and second. All those in favor? C, approval of proposed amendment to the Tiverton Code of Ordinance, Chapter 78, Traffic and Vehicles, Article 3, Stopping, Standing, and Parking. This proposed ordinance will amend Section 7872, which will prohibit parking from May 1st to October 1st, formerly from June 1st, on certain streets and further clarify the area of no parking from the intersection of Fogland Road and Puncatest, I always have a problem, Neck Road to the shore as previously stated, and this is where I said it was stated as Peckham's Farm. As older Tiverton, we know where that is, but some of the new people might not, to the shore. Continued from 4/8/24. Any comments from the council?
No, so it's not changing anything
It's
other than
not changing, but
the
we had to
name.
change the name because it was kind of,
And the date?
and the date. We decided May 1st, which was suggested by Recreation and the committee that was part of this. I'd like to open up the public hearing. Would anyone like to speak on this amendment? Anyone like to speak on this amendment? I'd like to close the public hearing and entertain a motion. Fish Park ORP, I didn't understand. Fish Park ORDPH, what does that mean?
Ordinance.
Ordinance, but Fish Park. I don't think it was about Fogland.
Is this for item C?
Yes,
Okay, I'll wait a moment.
all right.
Item B or C?
C.
C, she said C, right? This hasn't changed at all, you realize that, right?
I have questions about it. It's a public hearing and I have questions.
Okay, she just made a statement.
I just made a
If you
statement.
didn't want us to have a public hearing.
Jamie, I'm not
Jamie,
saying,
she
and
just
I
made a
just wanted
statement.
to be clear to you that this is in effect now, except it's June 1st.
Except for the changes. Like, and I was concerned about where it says certain streets. And I'm like, what? Is there a place called certain street? I mean, but it's like, it's going to change certain streets and Fogland Road. And it changes the time. It changes from June 1st to May 1st. And I have concerns about this because it's a boat ramp at the end of the road. And there's already not enough parking.
That is true.
And now we're changing the time of, that people, we're changing things. I don't understand why we're going from June 1st to May 1st and on dates. And to me, there's already,
There's no
I know
par-
to me, I think we need to look at parking for the boat ramp. There's a boat ramp down there. If you want people to use it, people like to fish, they like to have boats, they have recreational use. When they drive their kayak or whatever it is, and they put it in the water, what are they supposed to do with their cars? Because there's no parking. Can't we make parking on, there is a 5-foot easement, am I right, on each side of the street. You could make parking on one side of the street so that people have a place, but we need to provide recreational opportunities in this town, and we need to allow, if dog walkers want to go to the beach during May, we're now cutting them out because everything's going to begin in May. We don't allow, I'm not sure where people are supposed to do things. The boat ramp is unusable if you can't park there. I mean, where are you supposed to park? Unless you're a local person and you can drive your vehicle home, what are you supposed to do with it? You know, and we're saying you can't park anywhere in that area. And it was so that you could maybe park over at the beach after you finish at the boat ramp.
You
But
can.
now we're going to make that more restrictive as well with fines, which is, I know, B and D. But I just want to know what we're supposed to do. You know, the quality of life, a town revitalizes, like I said before, by helping people, making recreational better for people, making life easier, giving people a strong place to have fun and work after work. That's why people live here. And the more rules and regulations we make just seems to just be a moxie around for allowing, we have a boat ramp, but you can't use it. You know, we have anyway, thank you.
Madam President, the parking at Fogland's to the left of the beach is for boats and trailers, correct?
Right.
Okay.
There's already no no, please.
But where?
No,
where's the
you're
parking?
done. You're done.
I'm just asking where he said.
I'll have him describe it for you.
Thank you.
It's to the, if you're looking at it, is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, the left side corner.
To the left
Far
side,
left.
so as you're looking at the boat ramp, it's to the far left. These signs are already there, because neighbors were complaining that people were parking in front of their houses all summer long, and they were having, the streets were narrow, and they were having a hard time.
And to clarify, and to add,
There you go.
the only change in terms of the roads themselves is to clarify what part of Fogland Road was being identified.
Correct.
So instead of having the farm, we made it Puncatest Neck Road. And it was changed to May 1st. And I applaud Stu Gilfillan and his Recreation Beach Commission for everything they've done to add many recreational and other types of opportunities for folks in Tiverton. So to suggest that we're not doing that, I think is ludicrous.
And the parking lot at Fogland is open until 10 o'clock at night. So there is parking also. Mike?
And just to clarify, the certain streets it's just the title of the ordinance, and it's only those streets that are listed below that ordinance. So other than those streets that are listed in the ordinance, it doesn't only apply to those streets.
Well, and you can't blame the neighbors either.
No, but I didn't mean, certain streets, certain streets is already in the ordinance. It's just, it's just clarifying what streets we're talking about. And as you know, the current ordinance on that Fogland Road says from Peckham's property to the shore.
And that's why.
And I don't think that would hold up in court if someone got a parking ticket, because you have to assume that you know where Peckham's property is. So.
Like I said, it's from us who's been here forever that would know that.
Well, for what it's worth, I mean, Tiverton has seen tremendous population growth since I've been alive, so, there's a good number of people who have no clue where Peckham used to own in the 1500s.
Well, when we did this, we all laughed because we couldn't believe that it said that, Peckham's Farm.
I have a quick question on this.
Sure.
So, in theory, if I wanted to park on the street, I could park just before I get to Fogland. If Fogland's going to be on the right-hand side, I could just pull over on the side of the road, park there. That's essentially what this ordinance says. And then there's no parking to the boat ramp, and then 500 feet as I head down High Hill Road.
Right, High Hill
Okay.
Road was a problem at one point.
But you could still park, you could go 1,000 feet down High Hill
Oh, yeah,
Road.
there's other areas to park.
Okay.
Plus, the whole beach till 10, you could park at the beach parking lot.
I mean, to be
May
perfectly
1st to
honest,
May
nobody's going to park
31st.
there anyways. I mean, I run that route all the time, so.
Sometimes in very busy seasons, there was a problem years ago, and that's why.
Yeah.
Okay,
Madam Chair?
yes.
Motion to approve the Tiverton Code of Ordinances, Chapter 78, Traffic and Vehicles, Article 3, Stopping, Standing, and Parking, as presented.
Second.
Motion been made in second. All those in favor? Thank you. Charles McKay, 65 Beach Avenue, Tiverton, requesting approval of private detective license renewal. I don't think Charlie's here, is he? No, but this is a long-standing private detective license, and the chief has given me the okay in the back, so it's been approved by the police department.
Madam Chair?
And yes,
I'd like to make a motion that we approve the private detective license for Charles Mulcahy's 65 Beach Ave, Tiverton.
Second.
motion's been made in second. All those in favor? Okay. Cemetery Commission, 5-member board, 3-year term, 2 vacancies, both the reappointments. Maureen Sylvia, 772 Stafford Road, request reappointment, term ending 4/15/2027. Maureen, you want to come up? I'm kind of mad you didn't bring the dog today. You
I
know
know. I didn't want to get in trouble.
Just tell us why you would like to be reappointed.
I've been on the commission, it's going to go on 3 years, and taking over the treasurer's duties, and I feel like we have a good team. We get things done in the cemetery, and feels good doing something for my community.
Thank you. Any questions for Maureen? I'd entertain a motion.
Madam President,
Yep.
you want to do these together, or you want to do?
Yeah, Dana, you want to come up too? Because you two are buddies anyway.
She wrote me into both of the
I know
committees, by
she
the way.
did.
I know who I can count on.
So Dana, why would you like to come? Besides being with Maureen, what would?
That's my number one reason. No, I enjoy it. You know, I've learned a lot about the cemetery and the operations, and I'm the secretary, and I just enjoy helping out. And, you know, we got a great chairman.
Go Bob!
That's a good plot.
Can I say something, Shannon?
She's not done yet. She's not done yet.
I'm done.
I'd just like to say, as chairman of the Cemetery Commission, these two individuals are very important and very key players to the commission. Maureen is the treasurer, does an outstanding job. Dana is the secretary, again, does an outstanding job. And as chair, I would like to,
Thank you.
give you a blessing and hopefully get reappointed.
Thank you. Mike?
I would like to make a motion that we reappoint Maureen Sylvia of 772 Stafford Road and Dana Coit of 3 Whitetail Lane to 3-year terms on the Cemetery Commission for the terms ending 4/15/2027.
Second.
Motion made and second. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Congratulations.
Thank you.
Just to let anybody.
Thank you.
Just to let everybody know, there's 2 more vacancies on the Cemetery Commission, and you really want to join these. No.
No, these were the 2 vacancies. We just filled the 2 vacancies. So that
Oh, that's not what it usually is like, though.
Right, Gene? Yeah.
Okay, sorry,
Yeah.
never mind, you can't join me.
We have a full commission, do not apply.
Such a fun group.
And if you didn't apply, you're missing out, apparently.
Yeah, you missed out on that group. Maybe there might be another group.
There are.
Historical
Yeah,
Cem-
Conservation Commission.
Historical Cemetery Commission, a 5-member board, 3-year term. Susan Anderson and Jim Spears. Susan, you'd like to come up? Susan's been with us for a long time on this group.
I'm missing other things.
Tell us why you would like to be reappointed?
Well, I'm the secretary.
So they wouldn't have a secretary.
I also do the research behind who owns the cemetery and through the deeds and everything. If we have we're in the midst of documenting our 90th in town, and I had to find out who, through the deeds, who it was and whatever. Some of the cemeteries that we've done, we've documented, I think 3 since I've been on. Correct. Right? Starting with Wingover, and so I had to find out who was buried there and how many, and all that. Over the wall from Wingover is kind of interesting because you have a cemetery, and in the middle of the cemetery, there's, on the west side, it's all field stones. On the east side, they're mark stones. And so we didn't know who it was except for the mark stones, but in the middle is this buried wall. So it's like, this is really strange. So I looked through the deeds and found one back that said, my honorable mother, Elizabeth Waite, in an earlier deed. So we figured the west side was the Waite family. So that's why, and the east side was the Mark Stone, the oldest was Macomber. So that's why we titled it Waite Macomber. But, so I do a lot of the research for the cemeteries. And in case you are interested, I also dug up all those 74.
In the back?
In the back, yeah. I unearthed what Isabel had done. It was amazing. I saw a map and I'm like, well, are these here? Poking, yeah. So we have to figure out how we're going to preserve those.
Thank you. Any questions for Susan? We'll do these together. Yeah, Jim, do you want to come up? You can sit on the side of Susan.
Partner in cleaning and restoring, researching. Okay, so I'm Jim Spears, and I've been doing this for quite a long time. Currently, I'm the co-chair along with Bob Martin, and we have progressed a long ways since we started this quite a long time ago. Originally, all we were doing was some research, but a lot of clearing brush out of cemeteries. We knew we had a lot of broken stones, a lot of damaged stones, and we didn't know what to do about it. But a few years ago, a similar group in Westport started up, and I've taken training with them, and I know now how to correctly repair and reset gravestones that are, broken beyond what would appear to be repairable. And we're busily doing that as we have resources now. And I plan on doing this as long as I'm physically able.
Good. Any
And we invite everyone council and public to join us at our cemetery awareness events, which are described in the Sahady Times next month.
I am giving a tour of the old Congregational Cemetery, which is next to St. Madeline's. And it has about 19 Revolutionary War veterans in there. There's also a couple of Civil War veterans. There's also some renowned people, like the Whitridge family. They're in there. So I'm giving my annual tour of that cemetery on May 4th at 10:30. And then May 11th and 18th is when we're going to be cleaning, resetting, and repairing some stones in the Daniel Dwelly Cemetery, which is on Windwood.
May 4th sounds awesome. We unfortunately will be mired in the school budget during that time period.
Maybe. We'll be having our own tour.
Can I make a look at some stuff?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm the liaison to the Historical Cemetery Commission. And prior to that, I had no idea what they did or where they did it. So put this in perspective. They're all over 60 years old. There's 5 of them. They take care of 87 historical cemeteries. And as Susan said, there's a lot of research. She isn't just done here in our vault. She goes to Taunton. She goes wherever she needs to go to do this research. There isn't a day go by, not just weekends, when I don't get emails from these people about what they're doing on that day. So they're constantly at it. And they're a great asset to the town.
Thank you.
All right, entertain a motion?
Just a quick comment. I actually am impressed by their minutes. I look forward to reading your minutes because of the amount of set up cemeteries and actually the amount of work that needs to be done in those cemeteries. Do you guys have any plans for a public cleanup day of some
We
sort?
just did May 11th and May 18th.
Oh, all right, yeah, I wrote May 11th, okay. But that's in general or is that specific cemeteries?
That's a specific cemetery.
All right, because then you guys have a whole slew of sites that need clearing and work.
Oh, yes. But the
Keep the dates
problem
going.
is, we don't have any place to put it.
Yeah, when we lost the landfill, we lost our ability to pull debris, trees and brush out of cemeteries and take it to the landfill. Now, it's a problem. Sometimes we can pile it in the back of the cemetery if there's a big enough space, but usually that's not the case.
Well, we do have a shredder.
Yeah, if you coordinated with the DPW, I bet you we could help you with that. Rick's Rick's smiling, he agrees with me.
Before you leave, go see Rick. He'll take care of you.
He's right over there.
All right, so I'll make a motion.
Okay, Jay, hang on. But in answer to your first part of your question, the May 11th deal is part of a statewide event that's running through April and May, and groups similar to ours are doing things throughout April and May. But we've sort of been keeping it quiet in the past as to when we did it. We have a few volunteers outside of ourselves. But I'm in the process of setting up a Facebook group dedicated to this process, and that will then become publicly accessible, and that'll spread it to a wider audience.
We do have, and I don't know what the use of it is, but we do have the town clerk's webpage now as well, so if it's good for dispersing information. Somebody's to put her own stuff on.
Yeah, this Rhode Island Historic Cemeteries Awareness and Preservation Weeks in April and May became known, it used to be the Rhode Island Preservation Conference, Historic Preservation Conference, through the Rhode Island Historic Preservation and Heritage Commission, but they opted after, I think it was before the pandemic or after the pandemic, I can't remember. But instead of doing the preservation conference where it was held in different towns, they opted to join with the cemeteries commission people. And so now they have a statewide event to promote the cleaning and the maintenance and the tours and whatever of programs of getting historic cemeteries more aware in the towns.
Great.
Like to entertain a motion?
Thank you.
Oh, you did do a motion.
No, I started.
Oh, you started.
He was stopped.
Rudely.
I make a motion that we appoint Susan Anderson, 1137 Main Road, Jim Spears of 494 West DeMello Drive, to the Historical Cemeteries Commission with a term to expire 4/15/2027.
Second.
Motion's been made in second. All those in favor? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for all your work.
Yes.
Martin Van Hoof?
Yeah, take a bag, please, and a pen.
That's a requirement, right?
Yes, it is. Hi, Martin.
Good evening.
You've been on this committee quite some time.
Yeah, I don't know how long.
A long time, I think. Just tell us why you'd like to be reappointed.
Yes, well, I kind of feel this will probably be my last 2 years at it, but I'd like to finish up a few things that are going on the commission, the Fort Barton work especially. So that's why I'd like to be reappointed.
Well, I want to thank you for your years of commitment to the town.
Yeah.
Do I have a motion?
Madam President, I would like to make a motion to reappoint Martin Van Hoff to the Open Space and Land Preservation Commission for a 3-year term ending 4/15/2027.
Second.
Motion's made in second. All those in favor? Thank you, Martin.
Thank you, Martin.
Thank you. This one has more vacancies.
Yes, there are
All right.
now 2 more
I didn't want to
vacancies
say
on this
that
commission.
anymore.
There's 2 more vacancies on this commission.
I'm sorry. I've had a long week already. Conservation Commission, Tom Molinsky, 112 Thomas Street, request reappointment 4/15/2027. I don't see Tom.
Madam Chair,
President?
if
Yes.
you look at his application, he can only be around during the daytime, so
Yeah, he's,
given that, I'd like to make a motion that we reappoint Tom Malinsky to the Conservation Commission for a term ending 4/15/2027.
Second.
Tom's been doing this for quite a while too, I believe. Motion's been made in second. All those in favor? Gary?
Now, there's 3 more vacancies on that
There's
commission.
3 more. Yeah, they're going to announce it so I don't make a mistake. Gary? Recreation Commission, 7-member board, 3-year term, 2 vacancies. 1 person applied, so there's 1 vacancy. Gary, tell us why you'd like to be reappointed.
Well, I've only been on for 1 year, which I backfilled someone. First year was a learning experience, so I get to see how a lot of things worked and saw a lot of things get done, and I think there's a lot more that needs to be done, so.
Gary and I have worked with you in some of the events, and I've enjoyed doing that, and you showed a lot of enthusiasm. I think you were a great addition to this committee.
Thank you.
Yeah, I would echo that, and you're also the vice chair of the committee, even though you've only been on for a short time. And you've done a lot in terms of the back office functions, if you will, that people don't always see unless you're at the meetings.
Yeah.
So appreciate that.
Thank you.
You're making sure that Stu does the right thing, and he's giving me the thumbs up, so he agrees too.
Stu keeps me in line.
He's close watching.
Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion that we appoint Gary Monahan, 67 Tanglewood Drive, to the Recreation Commission for a 3-year term expiring 4/15/2027.
Second.
Motion made in second. All those in favor?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Still 1 vacancy left.
Library Board of Trustees, Amy Lewis King, 73 Watermark Drive, request appointment, term ending 10/15/2025. Hi, Amy.
Hi, how are you?
Very good. Just tell me a little bit about yourself and why you'd like to be on the board.
I'm a relatively recent Tiverton resident as of 2017. And I've been incredibly impressed with the board. I've been to one of the board meetings. I think the library is doing a terrific job, and I'd like to continue it going in that kind of a direction. I think they're reaching out to a lot in the community. I live in the village of Mount Hope Bay. We have a huge group of people that are using the library on a regular basis, and I would like to encourage that more.
Any questions for Amy?
Not a question, I'll just say I'm very grateful to have a new person apply for a board and commission in Tiverton.
Thank you.
Especially one that hasn't lived there all that long.
No, I haven't lived there very long, but I have a background in nonprofit marketing and have done fundraising in my life, and I think I could bring some skills. They're kind of old skills, but they're skills.
They're okay.
Old is good.
What's old is new.
I know, and I like I said, I went to one of the board meetings. I understand they're doing a 5-year plan, and I just think that that's very farsighted, and it's excellent to see the town moving in that direction. It's a beautiful facility.
It is.
It is.
It was great to move here and see it.
It's a great board also.
Yes, I understand.
They're very well organized and very motivated, committed. Yes.
All right, so I need a
Madam Chair?
motion to waive our policy.
I'd like to make a motion that we waive our policy and appoint Amy Lewis King, 73 Watermark Drive, to the Library Board of Trustees for a term ending 10/15/2025.
Second.
Motion been made and second. Any further? All those in favor?
Thank you. Good luck.
Thank you. Welcome aboard. Yes, we
did. I did it one fell swoop,
I just gave it to you.
in and out.
Zoning Board of Review, second alternate, annual appointment, Marlon Oliver, 15 Jerry Hill Drive. It's Marlon, right? Did I say? Marlon. Request appointment. Marlon, just tell us a little bit about yourself and why you'd like to be on the zoning board.
Thank you. I just want to say thank you for taking the time to listen to me. I have been a resident of Tiverton since 2019 now. I am a Rhode Island resident. I grew up in Newport, Rhode Island. I think that there's so many people on different boards, zoning boards, and all across these boards that are making a difference in our community, and I want to be able to do that on the zoning board. I am a realtor with the Fitzpatrick team based out of Middletown, Rhode Island. I'm also an event manager at Sardella's Restaurant in Newport, so I think that my experience in both fields will be beneficial towards the board. I know that it's just an alternate position, but it's
still
somewhere,
important.
it's somewhere to start, and I would love to learn from everyone who is on the board and is experienced. So I think that it would be a great start, and I think that it would be a great way to make a difference in our community with the experience that I have.
Any questions for Marlon?
No, I just
Yes.
thank you very much for stepping forward, because I'll be ageist here against myself. It's wonderful to see somebody your age stepping forward to volunteer.
Yeah, and like I said, I moved here in 2019, and I grew up in Newport, and we moved here because we wanted to raise a family, my husband and I, and we have been able to do so. We have 2 beautiful children, and we take full advantage of everything that Tiverton offers. And when I heard everyone speak about the library and the parks, I take full advantage of this with my family, and I just want to establish myself in the Tiverton, town, and make a difference in any way that I can.
Great, thank you.
And I would just like to say, as liaison to the zoning, along with Councilor Edwards, welcome to this board. I mean, we haven't voted yet, but it's a good board, it's a busy board, it's a really important board, because the cases that come before them are really important for the growth and development of our town, so.
Yes, great, and I'm willing to do anything that, the board needs. I'm a team player, so I'm here to work along you guys.
Great, thank you.
For appointments, you have to waive it. Yeah.
Madam Chair?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, this is reappointment.
I'd like to make a motion that we waive our policy and appoint Marlon Oliva, 15 Gilly Hill Drive, to the Zoning Board of Review as the second alternate for a term ending 7/15/2024.
Second.
Motion made in second. All those in favor? Thank you.
Thank
and
you.
welcome.
Thank you.
I look forward to meeting you.
We have a meeting Monday night.
Okay, I'll do that. Thank you.
All right,
Bring your black jacket.
I'm gonna do something a little different, with the whole dog park gang come up. Melissa Quinlan, Bob Sutherland, Kenneth Carlisle, Richard Siegel, Stephen Lopes, Joanna Chrisman, Sean Coynier, and Paul Anderson. Are you all here?
We're all here.
Except for Bob. Bob Sunderland couldn't make it.
Oh, okay. Come on, everybody.
Come on, don't be shy, just get up here so we can.
She really is the boss over there. All right, so I know why you all want to do this. You're very enthusiastic. You do an unbelievable job for volunteers. Hardworking. I see you there all the time. Run wonderful fundraisers with the Portuguese firemen. And you love a dog show every day when you're there. Would you like to add anything? No? Any questions from anyone? All right.
Just a comment. Having worked with most, except for Paul, Steve, having worked with all of them to get that done and to get that blood, sweat, and tears and open that park, you couldn't ask for a better crew right there, so.
Thank you, David.
All right, so we have 3 terms here, right?
Oh, yeah, that's what we're gonna do too.
Because we have to separate the terms.
Correct.
So,
Just do 'em
this is
in
going to be
order.
difficult to do.
Call out a term, we know who we are.
Well,
Have you
it
guys
doesn't
figured that
really
out?
matter because we know you're
guys
going to
already
come
figured
back
that out
again.
Oh, yeah, we did.
So they already figured that out amongst
Oh,
themselves?
you
Yeah,
did?
we are, yeah.
All right, so who's
You're
2025?
so organized.
Yeah,
1 year is me.
One year term.
No. No? I'm 1 year, and then one other person was 1 year.
no, I have 3.
3, I am not a 3.
Because Bob's not here. Is Bob the other one?
Yes.
Okay, so name the 3. Melissa,
For
Paul.
1 year.
For
For 1 year, yeah, it's me.
Melissa, Paul, and who else?
Joanna, right? For the 3, okay.
I was hoping you were going to bring your wife for the 1 year.
And Joanna.
And I'll leave her behind. All right, so for the term 4/15/2025 will be Melissa Quinlan, Joanna, and Paul.
So moved.
Second.
Motion been made and second. All those in favor? Okay, for the 2026, who's that?
The 2 year.
2 years.
The 2 year.
Sean?
Sean,
I'll go 2.
Ken.
Ken,
Kenneth Carlisle and Sean Coyer.
Sean,
We
and
still have an
Ken. I need
opening,
one
so that
more.
would be-
Oh, you have a,
We have an opening for,
so we'll leave that one open.
yeah.
So
one vacancy
Ken
for
and
2
Sean for 4/15/2026.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor? And then Richard and Steve and Bob for the 3-year term. God bless you.
So moved.
Second.
Motion been made second. All those in favor?
Can we just give her 1 minute to catch?
Yeah.
Okay.
And so with that, we still have 1 opening, right?
We have one opening, we are looking desperately for a
And it's a
secretary.
For a
And it's
2-year term,
And
for a
it's a
2-year term.
2 year, a 2 year.
It is a very fun group. I do a lot with these people.
You listen to us a lot.
It's okay.
What a
Congratulations.
motley crew.
It is, but we
Thank
do
you
good
for
work.
everything you've done.
We are all set, thank you guys very much.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's why we made that policy for the following, to not appoint people for
So they have 1 vacancy.
this meeting.
A 2 year.
That's the policy.
2 year.
Reappointment.
2 year.
Yeah.
Doesn't say that.
Steve's got all dressed up for us. I love it.
Yeah, that's- Thank you, guys. We just cleared the room.
There's 1 vacancy for a 2-year term.
Thank you. Planning Board, 9-member board, 3-year term, there's 1 vacancy. First one is Steve Clark, 31 Peaceful Way. Requests appointment term ending 7/15/2025. Steve?
Council, you're making us look bad with the tie over here. Come on.
Post-pandemic.
Tell us about yourself, Steve, and why you'd like to be on the planning board.
Okay, so a little background, which most of you know. I've been in Tiverton for about 17 years. Before that, I was over in Portsmouth for about 11 years. Came down from Boston before that, so been in the area for a while. My professional background, I think, is important here because I was an engineer. And I think on the planning board, the engineering background would be very helpful. I'm working with blueprints, numbers, data, analyzing data, working with people. And toward the end of my career, I was a team leader, a project leader, which required me to be working with large groups of people, and it requires good communication skills. I guess the reason that I want to be on the planning board is I don't like sitting on the sidelines. I want to be involved in the process. I don't want to be somebody who's criticizing, why did we do that? Or why did we do this? So I want to be there. I find working with people stimulating, interesting. And if you appoint me to the planning board, I've been doing a little research. I did read the comp plan and the bylaws, and I've been meeting with people over the last couple of months to kind of get an idea or some input as to what they think the hot buttons are, or the big issues. And I've gotten a lot of feedback from that. So I'm looking forward to being on the planning board, and I feel that because of my background and the fact that I've already, been attending meetings and attending zoning meetings and town council meetings, that I have a good idea of what's in front of us. Obviously, Tiverton is ripe for development, has been ripe for development, and we all know that we're in the throes of a development wave, if you will. And if we don't have a good crew of people, and if we have weaknesses, we're not going to be ready for what's coming. Tiverton is a beautiful town. I would like to keep it that way. I'm not anti-development. I'm pro-good planning. Development is inevitable, but we need to control it. We need to make sure our comp plan is up to date. I know it was done a few years back, but things are changing fast. So we need to keep an eye on that, make sure that it's up to date, and as I kind of already mentioned, make sure we have the right people in the right places.
You were
Thank
also
you.
on the town council for 2 years. You forget to mention that.
Thank you.
That's why I called him counselor when he came up.
I know, but he didn't mention it. Any questions for Steve?
Steve, have you been you've been going to a lot of meetings and doing a lot. So one of the things coming forward to the planning board in the near future will be all of the suggestions, recommendations from the zoning review committee on significant changes to our zoning rules. Some of it based on state law, and some of it just looking and saying we have to have a better way of planning. How well have you been keeping up with that?
I've actually sat in on a couple of the workshops that have occurred over the last couple of months, so I have a feel for what's coming and the kind of things they're working on. So, yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
And I can vouch that.
I've seen him in a lot of places.
Yeah.
Everywhere I go.
He's like Visa or MasterCard. He's everywhere you want to be.
Yeah, you can take.
Not yet. We're going to, the bag is to put yours in.
Adam Raposa, 31 Carpenter Street, request appointment term ending 7/15/2025. Hi, Adam.
Evening.
Good evening.
Hey, guys.
Good.
Tell us a little bit about yourself and why you'd like to be on the planning board.
My work experience as a contractor, home builder for the past 25 years. I thought that served me well when I was on the planning board in the past. I enjoyed being a part of the community in that way. I think I represent a demographic that isn't represented well through a lot of the boards and commissions in town. I'm a working class younger person. And I think, what I did bring as far as using my heart and my head was appreciated by, was well received. I thought I got along well with the majority of the people on the planning board. I was learning. I was keeping up with, the latest things that were coming down the pipe. I just enjoyed it. I enjoyed working.
You were on the planning board for 5 years, right?
I think it was 5 years.
Yeah, I think so
Four or
too.
5 years.
Yeah, at least. Any questions for Adam?
So I am the, one of the liaisons for the planning board, and I do feel that you had some valuable input with the planning board. I know that one of the issues was attendance, and because of your work schedule, that was an issue for you to attend a lot of the meetings. So has that changed, Adam?
What I will say is, we talked about that, my reappointment.
It's okay.
That I had, a few months ago. My attendance had gotten a lot better. So, I mean, that had gotten better, work had gotten a little different, cleared up some, I won't get into any of the personal details I went through since COVID, but, that had all gotten better. I know my social media was called into question, some of the things that I said on social media. I'm just a passionate guy, and when I see something being discussed that I have a passion for, some knowledge for, I like to talk about it.
Yes, Mike.
Adam, thank you for putting your name in. I'll ask you the same question that I asked Steve about the work that the zoning review committee is doing, major overhauls of our zoning maps and the like. Have you been keeping abreast with that? And
I have been keeping abreast with it, and I was keeping abreast with it because it kind of came to the forefront for the last six meetings or so that I was involved with the planning board with. I believe the state had passed some regulations which I think some of them are on this agenda tonight. So yeah, I'm aware of them and keeping up with it, yes.
okay, so I'm going to follow up with a question about your heart.
Okay.
Okay, because I think that goes to your social media, which, as you know, I didn't vote for you last time, and that was a big part of it. Because as a member of the planning board, and I do the same thing as a member of the council, there are lots of things I'd like to express my opinion on social media, and I pretty much stay dry on it, pretty much. Not always, but pretty much. And sometimes it seemed like your heart may have been voting in a way that was hard for us to legally justify at the end.
Well, I agree. I agree with that. So see, at the end of the day, when those types of votes come up, I think that no matter how, when something is that as hotly contested as a couple of the things that we had voted on the last year or so with the planning board, it was going to get pushed back no matter what, and you just got to kind of vote and get something, get your, get how you feel out there based, and just kind of let people know where you stand in a way that, okay, if it wasn't as well thought out as maybe the lawyers would have liked it to be. At the end of the day, it was just kind of showing people in town who kind of, agreed with my way of thinking that, I was on their side. Could I have done a little better at maybe getting some advice I probably could have. But, like I said, kind of tend to shoot from the hip at times.
Do you think that's different now?
I think it's different. That's a hard thing to change. That's a core moral value, so I think that my heart will probably, be right out there along with my brain. What I will say is I'll do better to, I want to say justify, but that's not the word I want to use. I can do better to make, my brain and my emotions work a little more in sync.
Okay.
Thank you.
Per policy, we have to do it next
Correct.
week because there's two. So
Madam Chair?
we'll be appointing next week for planning. Next
Next meeting,
I'm
next
sorry.
meeting.
Next meeting.
First off, take it back, and secondly, I didn't get a chance to.
He just doesn't want to take bags home.
I didn't get a chance.
I'm
To
sorry.
say. So, Adam, I want to thank you for putting your name back in because obviously the reappointment vote happened not that long ago, and I said then, and I'll stick by it now. I think we have two eminently qualified candidates, and I'm glad that you're still, trying to be involved because I think it's for the good of the planning board to have somebody who can read plans, which I know both you and Councilor Clark can do. So I'm happy that you came forward. Thank you.
He keeps calling you counselor. Thank you.
You never lose the title. Steve, ask your neighbor.
Police Chief Jones, discussion and possible vote concerning partnership with Police Department and CODAC Behavioral. Hello. Behavioral health care. Hello.
Good evening. With me tonight is Tommy Thomas Joyce of CODAC. So just to kind of bring the council up to date, for several years now, we've had a relationship with CODAC. I remember the day that I think I was a captain that Mr. Joyce came into my office and we were talking about. Long time ago, it seems like it at least, that the police department was moving into a service model along with our enforcement efforts, but also to see if we can do prevention when it comes to the citizens of our community and the needs that they have to lessen, actually, or remodel the police response, so we're just not habitually wasting our resources going to the same houses and dealing with our citizens in a way that is counterproductive. So as part of that relationship, along with the one that we share with Newport Mental Health, we partnered with CODAC and established Tiverton as a safe station, so that any individual could come in, no questions asked, and they would provide 24-hour, 365 service, so we could get them a bed, so we can get them treatment, so they could get the services that they require to help them live a better life. So recently, we were approached on and a second part of that partnership is, unfortunately, looking at Tiverton statistically, we have a high level of individuals who are living in our community that require services. And those services are anything from mental health to also including substance abuse issues. So, and I'll let Mr. Joyce take it over from there because just to talk about some of the innovation that we want to bring to Tiverton.
Thank you, Chief. And actually, thank you for your time tonight, and I'll keep it short, just in respect of everyone's time. So again, my name's Tommy Joyce. I'm the Director of Administration at CODAC Behavioral Health Care. Before I started with CODAC, I was the Director of Recovery Services at East Bay Community Action Program, and currently I'm also the co-chair of the Governor's Overdose Prevention and Intervention Task Force. And working with the town of Tiverton, we did identify, what I said, a preventive issue with the safe station, and so which was 24/7, and we've successfully got a few people into treatment going through there. And so what CODAC has is unique in Rhode Island. So we were the first in the country to have a DEA-approved what we call medical mobile units. So the goals of those units is to dispense medications for opiate use disorder. So what we were looking at in the town of Tiverton, these mobile units also provide behavioral health services, medical checkups, social services. They have peer recovery support specialists, which are people with lived experience like myself, who have long-term recovery and try to share themselves with somebody else. The intentions right now aren't to provide medications in Tiverton, but actually working with the chief to identify locations that we could have services out there a few times a week where there's a nurse on the van, there's a clinician on the van, there's a case manager on the van, there's an outreach team on the van. We do social determinants of health, and we provide basic needs of going through there. And not just for individuals who struggle with substance use or mental health, but families. Sometimes families don't know where to go, but if they know that there's someone there and they go by, we can provide those resources that are in the community. Because we know sometimes one of the barriers for people to seek services is transportation. Not everyone's going to go to Newport or in East Providence or in other places, but if there's someone in the community to go there and have that resource, because you never know when that window of opportunity opens, it closes pretty quickly. And I just ran some statistics. I think in the last 5 years, there was 93 EMS runs for opioid-related overdose in Tiverton. I think since July 1st, there was 6 in the last 4.5 months. And that comes from the Rhode Island Department of Health. We get it from the task force. We get those, it goes through there. But we want to be preventative. I think those are reactive runs. But I think we can get ahead of this, and then we can find out. I work on supply and demand. So the chief works on the supply. What I do is work on demand, which is human beings, of what makes someone feel uncomfortable, that they struggle to use something artificially or do something that's out of their character, just to feel comfortable. And that's what we want to do with this van, to go through. I think we identified 2 spots that would benefit to go through that, wouldn't be intrusive with the van.
Or Mill and Sandy Woods.
Perfect.
And we just want to provide services. And I think the goal is to have real-time access to services and real-time access to treatment instead of getting a phone call. I get the phone calls when the Tiverton police calls, and I think all the calls I've responded out personally to come out. But I think we can get ahead of that and get preventative services, and then people will come in to go through because there's no wrong door as far as we go. So we're just looking for an opportunity to take the van out here. We have 2 in stock right now, we're actually having another federal grant for 2 more. We're going to be going down to Washington County with Chief Monahan with the South Kingston Police. So we just want to, again, provide services in here and be a resource and keep our relationship with the Tiverton Police, which has been outstanding so far.
Any questions, John?
So when you talk about the services, is it strictly, what you're looking to do is strictly related to the opioid, and drug-related services that you guys provide? Or is it all encompassing? So, and the reason why I ask is because I know one of the services is the gambling addiction, and we happen to have a casino in town, so kind of beneficial.
Okay, so I didn't set this up. So I'm actually the president of Rhode Island Council of Problem Gambling. We have a relationship now to provide preventative resources with Bally's. They fully fund us. It started as soon as the iGaming started. So I'm also I'm a licensed chemical dependence professional, but I also specialize in problem gambling. So,
Well, if you need a 5th van, I would hit up Bally's.
but it's all encompassing. So CODAC does
Okay.
have a program for problem gambling. We were the first in the state to have it. So it's about any kind of resource we can have in the community, not necessarily substance use or behavioral health. It could be basic needs. Somebody could come in with some food insecurity. We will kind of go through there. We do have some funds through the opioid settlement committee to kind of give those basic needs out there and kind of give those supports to go through, which I don't think it's a handout, it's a help up. And sometimes it's attractive to someone to come in and then you give them a little bit of resources and then we have an opportunity to talk to them. And what we do in the peer recovery world, and as peer recovery specialists attached to the van, is we sell hope. I just share a little bit, if I'm out there, I'll share a little bit of myself and my struggles that I had, 21 years ago of going through and let people know that life can get better. I think that's the main goal is to, how can we influence change in a positive way?
Thank you.
Mike?
So, thank you, Chief, thank you, Tommy. Very familiar with your agency's work through my day job with DCYF. And actually came to your building for one of the quarterly meetings that's held there around coordinated care, basically. And I think, when were you at EBCAP?
Ooh, I'm actually still kind of with EBCAP.
Okay.
So I started with EBCAP I think 9 years ago. Yep.
Okay, so my wife would have just left there, Sina Franklin.
I've had
Right
that,
around
yes.
there. Yeah, okay. But my question is, when you're connecting around basic needs, so like LIHEAP and the like, are you also connecting to places like EBCAP or
Yes.
Newport County? So it's more of a wraparound model that you're connecting them to the right
Yes.
resources at the right time?
Yes, it's not specific. We provide resources that's in the community.
Yep.
So my relationship with EBCAP and going through, we have our 24, actually our same-day behavioral health access. We have a wide variety of social services that we can have in the community. Actually, right now, CODAC does primary care for Newport Community Mental Health.
Right.
So we don't want to take
Because
people
you're
out
a
of the community.
federally qualified? Are you a federally qualified health center? Or is that just EBCAP?
The EBCAP is.
Yeah.
EBCAP is a federally qualified health center and a federally qualified mental health center. So we have a strong relationship with EBCAP, and I'm still a consultant with them too. But we would, anywhere we can get that person the wraparound service that they have access to. So we're just almost like a bridge, in a sense. We're a bridge or a conduit to that person to get the resources that they need. And sometimes it's always, a person-centered or patient choice. So wherever they want to go, we're going to make sure we get them there and going through.
Well, and I've always been, one of the challenges of Tiverton, which I think has gotten, I shouldn't say better, but has changed. And lots of times, especially when I was on the school committee, we would turn north to get people services, which is great, but it doesn't connect them to the wealth of services that are provided through other resources in the state, so.
Any other questions? Deb?
I'm so happy to hear that we have this. There's so many people in town that don't recognize that there's opioid issues and gambling, and people just have a lot of needs. So it's also a family issue. It's not just the individual. So I think families get really distraught and don't know where to turn, and there are resources there. So for you to be able to kind of funnel those to those people, I think is a wonderful, wonderful thing.
Yeah.
So how does a person get to you? Can they self-refer? Can they just show up at your van? Do they have to come through?
They can just show up. just show up and going through, or they could even just make a phone call to CODAC, and we would let them know when we're gonna be there of going through. Or if they really need services, to just walk into the Tiverton Police
Okay.
station anytime. Could be 3 o'clock in the afternoon or 3 o'clock in the morning, and I'll answer. And we'll get that person resources and what they know. And that includes families, because I know part of the governor's task force, we're doing a really strong family task force that's being developed for exactly that, because I would say families recover together, but we do well with the individuals. We don't do that well with the families in Rhode Island, but we're trying to be better at that. And so we're trying to get those resources in there to get the families the support that they need, because if you don't recover together, it doesn't work. And so we
Exactly.
want to make sure we have those complete wraparound services for not just the individual, but the families.
Right. And the police certainly have their people they can bring in, but we would like to prevent that and get that,
Yep.
like, head that off if we can, to save people from that aspect. So where are we advertising this?
So what we're planning on doing now is, obviously tonight was important. So, and we kind of wanted just to kind of get the direction going, and then we're going to continue to work with CODAC and Tommy, as we always have, and through our community policing unit too. So when we encounter an individual, we'll pretty much do, and we'll work with them on training, kind of like an on-scene assessment. If this is something, and I know he recently came out probably about a month and a half ago, to help one of the families that were in need in town, and they did amazing work with the officers that were on scene, helping out, that family and that individual. But if we have something that might not be an emergency or immediate need, we can work with scheduling the van, and press upon them to say, the van's gonna be in town at this date at this time, and let them know to expect Pat to go there because we had this interaction with them. So about all that information sharing and continuing to communicate the way that we always have, just to another level.
That's great.
What about confidentiality in terms of that relationship? Any issues?
So right now, we have currently with the East Bay Community Action Program, we do have an MOU with the police department going
Yep.
through there. So usually what happens at that point in time, if individual comes in, we do have them sign a release of information with the Tiverton Police, which is under, I'm a clinician, so I'm not gonna get into but there's always releases signed, and confidentiality is always the utmost, because if there's no confidentiality, the person's not gonna show up.
Right.
And so that's always the person's confidentiality, and not just the information, but make sure we do it in a discreet way to go through there. But if there's a situation that's a crisis, we do want to communicate with the police department. We always have a release of information, so we could, if that person comes back in the community and there's an issue, we can, again, respond, and we could share information going through there.
Thanks.
And I know we've already had kind of cursory conversations with the managers at Sandy Woods and at Bourne Mill, especially with the current
gonna ask you.
expansions that are going on. And they've even offered, Bourne Mill is kind of in flux a little bit, but definitely Sandy Woods. They have offered us confidential space. So
Nice.
for them, so interior, so that we could, whether it be the police department's involved, or if they are giving information to kind of address the issue of confidentiality, if they're aware of some of their residents that are having issues, they can communicate either through us or directly with Tommy and his team. So this way, they'll share a space, and then they can kind of form that relationship.
Yeah. And the van itself, I think it's 27 feet. And so there's a private office inside for a clinician, there's a private exam room inside. And so, but just not so discreet with the 27-foot van. But inside, there is private areas for people to go in to go through.
Does it count as a van if it's 27 feet?
Wow, that's what they tell me, but that's what we
Okay.
call medical, but it's one thing, they say it's designed for distribution of medications, so it's that size, because there is a safe in there. We won't have medications when we come up here, but there's regulations that DEA had us come to go through to customize the vans. So we have 2 right now that are on the road, and hopefully 2 more that'll be coming on the road in the next year or so.
I'd like to entertain a motion.
Like make a motion that we vote to support the partnership between the Tiverton Police Department and CODAC Behavioral Health Care.
Second.
Motion been made in second. All those in favor? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. I will take
Take
it
a
back.
bag. Take two. Take a pen. You want a pen?
Yeah, I will take a pen too. Thank you. Thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
We're gonna, I'd like to entertain a motion to do 10E, so we can get
So
those
moved.
nice people home.
Second.
Motion been made in second. All those in favor? Mike?
So I'm going to let Marco speak to this in detail. This came up at the Tiverton Harbor Commission meeting. Marco had raised that he was wanting to work on a possible feasibility study in conjunction with Fall River to get some money for that. And so I had suggested he talk with Mr. Cotta first, which he did. And then the Harbor Commission, well, Marco actually said, well, I think I need to get the vote of the Harbor Commission. So they actually met, because it was brought up kind of informational at the last regular meeting, so they met today at 5 o'clock. And I'll turn it over to you, Marco.
Okay. Hi, good evening. So my name is Marco Dirks. I'm with the Tiverton Harbor and Coastal Waters Management Commission. And we've been exploring the old railroad track that was initially known as the Tiverton Fall River Railroad back in 1846. So it's long been abandoned. And it's on an amazing piece of real estate that follows the shoreline of the east side of the Mount Hope Bay and hugs the entire shoreline from Fall River all the way to the Sahady Bridge. And there's been a lot of work done already to consider transforming the railway to a multi-use recreational path. A lot of the work has been done with under the leadership of Peter Moniz from Bike Tiverton. So he's done a lot of work in exploring the various possibilities. A feasibility study was done on behalf of the Rhode Island DOT in 2019. And the following year, this commission voted to support placing the Mount Hope Bay Greenway, as the trail is known, onto the State Transportation Improvement Project list with the DOT. So that was 2020. Unfortunately, it did not get on the list, and it was placed as a candidate bikeway. And that's where it's sort of bogged down with the progress. So what's really changed this year is the fact that South Coast Rail is opening a commuter station right in Fall River. And this bike rail would go exactly to the train station and all the way to the bridge. So not only is this a tremendous recreational opportunity for multi-use pedestrian bicyclists for Tiverton and visitors, but also gives tremendous access to for coastal access to the coastal waters. And it's really now with the opening of the commuter rail, become an alternative transportation option. And especially on this last issue, that's opened up a lot of the funding at the federal level. There's the Active Transportation Infrastructure Investment Program that has a grant that's available, ranging from $100,000 to $15 million per award, both for design and engineering studies as well as for the actual construction. And the deadline for that is June 17th. So we don't have an indefinite amount of time, so less than 8 weeks to complete this application and hopefully bring this federal money in addition to matching state funds to Tiverton and really make a difference in how we live here in Tiverton. It would be a real win to bring that to Tiverton, and I think it's be a real gem to have this in our community.
Thank you, Marco. I knew you wanted to speak to Kathy.
So this is Kathleen Gannett. She is with the Rhode Island Bicycle Coalition. She's the chair, and I've met with her as well and discussed the program.
Yes, I'm Kathleen Gannon, board chair for the Rhode Island Bicycle Coalition. We are Rhode Island's only statewide bicycle advocacy organization. And our mission generally is to help more people choose cycling more of the time. I'm also joined by another board member and Tiverton resident, John Neary. So when we talk about cycling, I just want to make sure that you understand, of course, we are talking about recreation. It's it can be a lifelong activity. It's a fun, family kind of activity, of course. but also we are talking about possibilities for commuting to work and school sometimes, but even a bigger proportion of what we like to talk about is utility cycling, so people going to a shop, to an arts program, to their doctor, to out, over to their friend's house to watch a movie, to the ball field to watch a game. So, choosing cycling as a practical matter for these kinds of activities begins and ends with infrastructure. We know from working statewide that people will not choose cycling unless they feel safe. And the safety has to do with having a facility that they can see, that they know they're safe from car violence. In addition, the other factor is connectivity and networking. So it has to take you somewhere where you want to go. And so we're talking about going to Fall River and going to the train station and other nice things along the way. And so even a facility that starts as a recreational facility can turn into sort of a utility facility and a commuting kind of facility. So we see on the East Coast Greenway, it was conceived initially, I think 35 years ago, strictly as a recreational rails to trails conversion. But what you see today are many, many people using it, commuting. If you go on at the right time, you see kids coming back and forth to school. You see people going to the grocery store. You see people using it in all different kinds of ways. And I think the potential for that kind of activity is you have that potential here for this project. And it would be really great. So we're talking in some ways like people from Tiverton going to Fall River, going to the train station, but also it works the other way, is that people from Massachusetts with this connection can come to Tiverton and bring some of that sweet, sweet Massachusetts money up here. So, and we know that spending on bike infrastructure is an investment that pays off. Bike infrastructure is economic development. And so what you will see return on investment here. So I thank you for your time. I just really wanted to stop by to say that the Rhode Island Bicycle Coalition enthusiastically supports the Mount Hope Greenway project, and hope you will too. It will bring some active transportation to a part of the state that doesn't have too much, and we would like to see that. Also, as Marco said, it aligns with the Bicycle Mobility Plan, which is an approved part of the long-range transportation plan for the state of Rhode Island and has been approved for 4 years. It is a candidate bikeway within that plan. So it would help us kind of make progress on the bicycle mobility plan, which we think would be a great thing. And finally, I think this coordination with the Massachusetts, the South Coast Greenway folks is really very, very, very exciting. That really helps bring a larger network to people in Tiverton and other people who come to use that trail. And it would make a really wonderful facility for you and for other people who would like to visit here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Couple questions, Marco. The mileage, this will start at the train station. So what's the mileage in Fall River?
So a little bit over 3 miles, and it's 2.8 miles from the Secana Bridge to the state line.
Okay, so that's my other question.
Approximately 6 mile.
Okay.
So traveling at about 18 miles an hour, 20-minute bicycle ride to get from your backyard to the train station.
Okay. And the infrastructure grant, you say, ranges from 100 to 15 million.
Correct.
With a 20% cost sharing, which can be in kind or a state match, so there's no expectation of dollars from Tiverton itself?
That's correct.
Okay. And where are you in the process with Fall River?
So I've met with Jim Cusick, who runs Bike Fall River. He is also the commissioner of the Bicycle Commission at the City of Fall River. And they have also had a feasibility study completed in 2021. There's a copy of that. There's a link to your handout to that study, as well as the front page as well. That's the, so they've come quite along as well, and they basically at about the same level we're at. The next step would be to get a engineering study done, and then the construction. And this federal grant is actually both for the design and engineering portion of it, as well as the construction.
So you're pretty optimistic that if we approved it, Fall River would too?
Yeah, I think so. There are some issues. There is the option of a rail to trail or rail and trail. There's some interest in Fall River to maintain some rail service or potentially extend it. There are some businesses such as Gold Medal Bakery and the water treatment plant that have both expressed interest in maintaining some form of, or create some form of rail transport. Right now, all the solids from the water treatment plant are trucked out, and I guess they've expressed interest in getting a train. So also the feasibility study for the Rhode Island portion also felt that it would be less expensive to have a rail and trail option. Because apparently it's less expensive to have to demolish the railway bed. That's what the plan wrote. It seems to be, certainly aesthetically, it would be nicer, at least for the Tiverton side, just to have a single path rather than next to a rail. Although the rail did not have to be developed during the development of the trail portion.
And without the rail bridge, there's really no place for the train to go down here.
Exactly. So and also that would create some difficulty with there are a couple of overpasses.
Yeah.
The real estate width of the corridor is 85 feet, so it really extends much further than just the railroad bed itself. And so there certainly would be room for the great majority of that, but some of the real bridges that may be an issue. And but the feasibility study has workarounds certainly for that. So I think if we can get this federal grant to Tiverton with a state matching, I really see that this can work. It would be a tremendous asset for Tiverton. Kind of imagine a East Bay bike path along the shoreline. It's bump outs for people to sit on benches and enjoy the shorelines, and as mentioned, commute and safer. According to the Highway Safety Administration, ever since 2010, the bicycle fatalities have progressively skyrocketed. So being able to separate recreational bike traffic from car traffic is going to become more and more important, especially with so many distracted drivers. So people exercising their bike for their health, not to risk their life, and shorten it. So,
Well, let me ask you this.
yeah.
Have things changed, and has the state expressed an interest in giving us the railway right away? And is any of this contingent on that happening? Because last I knew, we don't own that land.
It's owned by the state, correct? Yes, by state DOT. And
we have the sewer line running on the east side of it.
Yeah. So, and that's also the same for the Fall River portion. It's owned by the Massachusetts DOT. So there are lots of success stories around the state of Rhode Island where indeed these trails are supported by the DOT. So I think the Tiverton option actually stands ahead of those in the sense that not only is the recreational opportunity, but it can change how people can commute to their job.
Chris?
So I do know that there was a preliminary engineering report done back in 2019, I think it was done by VHB. That report outlined a number of significant environmental concerns as it relates to doing a bikeway there. Not that it's not prohibited, but the fact that the town does not own that property and would take on that by doing a grant, it opens the town to liability. And I think it's significant liability if you look at that report. It did not make the statewide transportation plan. I do think that plan is coming back up again. 5 years has gone by. I think the person in contact would be Lindsay Callahan at statewide planning. I do think that they would probably be receptive at this point of putting that in their plan. I don't think the town should be taking on the responsibility of exposing itself to significant overruns or cost liabilities as it relates to the environmental concerns there. And we do know of the significant liabilities that are underlying in that entire district down there. I don't want to get into all of them, but there is a lot of concerns there. And we'd be taking on a grant where I'm not even sure the federal government would give us the ability to take the grant with not owning the property. Because we'd be doing a project on something that we don't own.
That's what concerned me.
Yeah,
'cause we
it
don't
totally
own
concerns me that we would be exposing the town to, especially if some unknown popped out that, and we're the ones signing on that we're gonna do this project. I think the project is a wonderful project, don't get me wrong, and I applaud your efforts, but I think you've got the right idea, but the wrong pew. I do think you need to be for statewide planning to get this on the STIP plan, and I would contact our local legislators and senators to impress upon that, especially now that the train is here. And I think that when this was adopted in 2020 from the town council standpoint, that they were embracing of it as well. The only obligation the town would have if that bikeway was to be put in is the actual maintaining of that bikeway. And we agreed that we would do that. But I don't think the town taxpayers want to be on the hook for undermining some significant environmental concerns that lay in some of those properties down there.
But what if it was structured in such a way that, similar to the state roads that are outside here, the property would be owned still by the DOT, it would be maintained by the DOT, other than light pruning and mowing?
Those are fine, but the actual construction of that bikeway would have to be done as a DOT project. The town cannot take that.
Well, and that's the plan,
Right.
and that's how I believe, and Kathleen would know more, as far as how the mechanism that they've built the other plan. Because the good thing is, we don't have to reinvent the wheel. There are these paths that are constructed throughout the state, and successful.
No, we agree, but they've taken a lot of the initiative of, and there's a lot of bikeways that they've done throughout the state, but there are times when they pull those funds to do things like the Highway Bridge or the Washington Bridge, or, there are other higher DOT priorities, and they've pushed this one aside. And I think they've done that because there was always the promise that the train was coming. This has been going on for 20 years. It's here. So I agree now, I think it has a very, very high probability of getting on the STIP plan and actually see funding from the state and federal government to make that happen. And I think the town would then embrace maintaining it as part of its obligation.
So, Chris, what if we offered a letter of support?
We can do that.
For this project, with the understanding that if you would be getting the approval from the state, your partnership would be with the state, and I think also that you'd have to have the obligation from Fall River to go through with it too, because that's the selling point, and no cost obligation to the town.
No, and that's what we did in 2020.
Yeah.
We offered a letter of support that the town embraces this. We believe it's a very viable project that has great merit. And all the things you alluded to in your conversation, that this would be a great amenity for the area. We do agree with that, but I think the actual taking on a project and doing it as a town function is totally.
Right. So, but I guess the main thing is, for starters, we need to get town approval. Is this something that Tiverton would like? And, which sounds like it is, but then.
We can find the support letter that we did back in 2020 and emulate it and get it to Lindsay.
And I think the difference would be that now.
We would get 4 of it.
Well, but the other difference is before you didn't have this federal grant opportunity.
But the DOT will know how to pocket those money. They're very good at marrying those, believe it, that's what all they do all day long on projects, is try to find the funding for them.
So I should apply for this particular federal grant, because like I said.
I wouldn't apply from the town standpoint. I would have statewide planning do it.
Okay.
Yeah, because you have to have that legal governmental entity, and we're not the right one.
Yep, I think that's a great compromise, and to make it a possibility without taking on the risk.
Yeah.
Perfect, yes, I do.
Yeah, and plus, since we don't own it, we could give you all the support in the world, all the authority, and somebody say, well, no, it's not your land.
Yeah, but this is an important step one to.
It is.
To keep the momentum for this project going. There's a lot of work that's already been done, and I think it would be a real win for Tiverton.
I agree. There's a lot of community support for it. There's a lot of local area support for it regionally. And I do think now that train is here. And it is there's going to be services that this would be an ideal thing to finally get on the table.
Yeah, and then this could be further developed by linking it to a bus service that all buses in Rhode Island have bike racks now. So you could.
We're actually trying to bring bike service up to the north end of town anyhow, that's.
A service, oh, yeah?
Yeah.
And so for bus service, and then if there's also car parking lots, there's some DOT lots available right across the golf course there by Roger Williams. People could put their bike in the bike rack, drive to the lot, and then ride. So many
Totally agree.
terrific opportunities, but the liability makes sense. Let's do it through DOT. So.
Okay.
Madam President, can I say a word or two? You guys, when you're done.
I think there's a
Well,
question.
we'll take a motion. Yeah, John has questions.
Yeah, so I just have a question, colored me slightly skeptical, because I know the goal here is to reclaim the tracks along the river and then also do it on the Fall River side. This bike path would ultimately terminate at the Borden and Remington Corporation chemical storage facility? Is that what the objective is? Because that's where the rail goes now. It would go right bypass it and then, like, where? Because I'm looking at the,
If you follow the railroad track, it goes by there and then also then goes behind the water treatment center in Fall River and then it goes behind the
Bakery.
Gold Medal Bakery.
'Cause this-
And then it wraps around and ends
doesn't CSX still ship to Borden and Remington? So like the line continues past and goes right to the yard that they have right outside of their
I
piece.
don't think any of that's in use.
Okay.
Tipsy Toboggan. We did it at the Tipsy.
That's forever.
All right.
The rail goes all the way down to the
It isn't in
shipyard.
use now, but it's not in use right now.
It is.
Oh, it
No,
is?
Down the shipyard it is.
Yeah.
Down that, okay.
And then as far as, obviously how it would connect, like the existing rail line terminates where the old railroad bridge would be, so I'm assuming there would have to be some sort of a connection built to get up onto the Secundit River Bridge somehow, the bike path?
There's the bikeway teed up on Evans Ave.
Okay.
Yeah, and then it could potentially continue from the bridge where Portsmouth, Middletown, and Newport are actively pursuing a bike trail.
So, again, out of curiosity, would the plan be, since you're gonna have to go up Evans Ave, are we gonna have to put in some kind of like a bike lane or something on Evans Ave? Which
It'll be a
would,
state problem.
well, Evans is a town road.
Yeah, but the state will take it, the whole connection from the railroad tracks to the bridge.
Evans is actually a state road.
Oh, Evans is? Huh,
Evans and Riverside both are state roads.
interesting. Okay.
And there's land available from the Bridge and Turnpike Authority along a corridor going up the hill. And there's also a utility easement on the other side along the rail track.
And I understand that the town actually owns some of the parcels along the coastline there as well.
They do, yep.
So, so the possibility to then, in future stages of this, to have these parks bumped out from the trail, it'd be tremendous.
I do think the concept was gonna be trail and rail.
Trail and rail.
That's what the original scheme was.
So not as skeptical as my counterpart here, but if you look at the Sahady River Bridge, there's a lot of people, when they opened up that biking lane, there's people walking, jogging, baby strollers and bikes, so. Do you know when that environmental study was done?
It was done in 2019, 19.
And was there one done in Massachusetts too?
I
on the
don't
Fall
know,
River
this is
side?
only done for the portion of Rhode Island.
2 years after, in 2021.
And-
So they're both linked in your packet.
On that link. So did they have contaminants also?
They don't have the area that we have down in the Bay Street. There's a major concern, and there are some other areas that were notified in that report. And obviously, the other real big issue is the sewer line travels the same area, so construction on that really is gonna have some, and that's, we have an easement through there, we don't own that line. We own the line, but we don't own it.
We've been trying to give the line away to wastewater and they won't take it.
Well, we have a final piece to where we have to clean it in camera, and then we will be turning it over.
But if they did have a bike path through there adjacent to the sewer line, it would make it a lot easier to get that sewer line and inspect it and repair it, keep it.
So we've started some of that clearing already to do that type of work, but there are, you have to read the report. It is very significant, and there are a number of important areas in it. But that doesn't mean it's not feasible to do. It's a very viable project.
Any other comments from the council?
I have one more question. Again, just knowing that this has to flow through the state, through a federal grants. I mean, we've got I-195 that needs a brand-new bridge. Is this even going to be feasible through
So
RIDOT?
some of this money came up through the infrastructure programs. So it's not true transportation monies. It's infrastructure monies that would make this available. But it ties into connecting infrastructure of transportation. So they would marry this grant up to whatever funding that they get under their normal transportation billing.
And roughly, it's going to be a 50-50 between Fall River and us, but obviously depending on any issues that come up, but.
I'm just not confident we're going to see it in my lifetime.
Well, we've said that about a few things. Nothing ventured, nothing gained.
We said it about the train, too.
You can speak for
Okay, I'm
3
just waiting for
minutes.
the administrator.
Oh, yeah. Well, come on up before we
Yes, my
start
name's
talking.
Peter Mullins, as you know, and I've been on the Bike Tiverton Committee, and I've been talking to Marco, too. He's been very helpful. One point I want to make out to the council here is the letter to local representatives. About a year and a half ago, we had a meeting with basically the 4 representatives, and of course, the one is in Middletown, one's in Portsmouth, one's in Tiverton, and blah, blah, blah. And they would agree to fight for this if we get the support of town council. Of course, we got the town council support many times since the 25 years I've been pushing for this. But, so my point is, Mr. Carter referenced a letter that was sent before. I would say we need an update letter, because this is a new council membership.
Oh, yeah.
And if we get that, and we can get this letter to, we'll have another meeting with our local representatives, and get them on board, because now they have that letter behind them, now they will push it a little bit more than they have been doing. So, first of all, I think you gotta get another general positive opinion from this group that you're looking forward to a bike path, a linear park, whatever you want to have it as a walking, biking, or a viewpoint to get it done. It's be an asset to the town of Tiverton and the state of Rhode Island, economically, recreationally, and blah, blah, blah. So get that letter done first.
Thank you.
Make a motion that we do just that. Direct the town administrator to provide a letter on our behalf, or in the town council president on our behalf, to support the efforts to secure funding through this federal grant opportunity. I'm not going to read the number. For the Active Transportation Infrastructure Investment Program, provided that it's, I'm going to say this, and you guys have to agree, that it's a rail-to-trail in Tiverton, and that it's done through the State Transportation Department, and provided that Fall River also agrees to go in on the grant.
Yeah, and then that's rail to trail or rail and?
Rail to trail is what I'm suggesting.
Okay, yeah. The feasibility study recommended the rail and trail.
There's a reason for that, is the Navy does not want to give up.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll take that back, rail and trail.
I don't know how they're gonna get over the water, but.
Right, well, they're the Navy.
They get the Army Corps, they'll come in and drop a bridge tomorrow.
Okay, so motion's been made. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion made second.
Quick
Further
point of discussion.
Yeah, go ahead.
Might also be worthwhile contacting our federal delegation.
Oops, sorry, that was not for you.
You're done, John.
Stop.
Good? All right. I would recommend contacting our federal delegation, and I believe in the last omnibus spending bill, I think it was Senator Reed who had an earmark for a bike path in Rhode Island that was called out by one Rand Paul. So apparently they're getting money for bike paths down in DC. Why not spend those dollars here?
Senator Reed, yes, who earmarks stuff for us.
I have a motion.
He gets all the money. I love him.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I want to entertain a motion to do 10F next.
So moved.
Second.
Motion been made and second, all those in favor?
Swiftly, Stu, swiftly.
Stu, I forgot your pickleball calendar again.
This is lasting a lot longer than I anticipated.
Good evening.
Hi.
Sorry.
Move this along.
All right. So in 2009, Tiverton Little League had put forward a request to the council at the time for a banner policy that would allow for them to utilize the space on town fields to generate revenue that in turn help fund the leagues. And over time, obviously, we have more leagues and more requests for the same kind of thing, but we don't have a current policy within that space. So the Rec Commission put together a policy that you should have before you that one of our goals is really just to kind of standardize how banners look and where they're placed and not end up with some that are way oversized and some that are really small and all sorts of different colors. So what you're seeing here was really sort of a first attempt after a lot of discussion, including with the leagues, about how we would approach this. We did initially include a fee structure for it and decided that it was in the best interest to move forward and evaluate this process and then see where we were at. So we're putting this before you. I will offer that after this was moved through recreation, we did get feedback from 2 of the leagues requesting a 1-year moratorium on the colors of the banners, just to allow them some time because the banners have already been purchased. So that was the only thing, but in terms of as we would be going forward.
So like one season?
One season, that was their request. I want to make sure that we're fair and equitable in sharing information.
Any questions?
Yeah, I got one.
So do I.
So under locations, why is it allowed at Fort Barton, but not at Puncatest?
So the way that it's structured actually. Yeah, the outfield fence actually stays, the field at Fort Barton is completely recreation, whereas the space at Puncatest is sort of jointly right on the line between the school property and the town property. So it's just a geographic difference.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
So I like it. I will say I'm a little concerned with the segment on content. Yeah, where it says no banner may endorse alcohol, tobacco, nightclubs, or any organization that Tiverton Recreation deems does not represent the best interests of the community. Seems a little broad. So, and then also, I would have some concerns, like let's say, Locals wants to sponsor, a Little League team. And, would that fall?
They probably already do.
What's that?
They already do.
Well, or Bally's, right? They get a never-ending checkbook over there. Would this not preclude those organizations?
You have a nightclub?
I would say no, candidly. And I would also offer that this language was what was approved in the prior version of this. So we, from a rec standpoint, we're trying to stay very true to the spirit of what previous councils had approved. I do see your point, Councilor. I don't think we'd be opposed to tightening it up more. At first, I thought you were going to say you wanted to be able to support nightclubs, but.
Yeah, and alcohol,
No, I mean, listen,
No, it's fair, it's a fair
and the last piece that, the Tiverton Recreation deems does not represent the best interest of the community. Let's hypothetically say, somebody who's running for office, from, the Marxist party or like the fascist party wants to sponsor. Again, I'm being a little bit extreme, in the example, but let's say they want to sponsor, a team. Are we just not going to take their money because maybe, the opposite end of the political spectrum doesn't want them getting ad space?
So, I mean, there is also a whole section within the ordinances under signage. It's Article 12. So, I mean, we could define, the problem that I think we were running into here, and previous rec commissions probably did as well, is that this is a little bit different. It's putting sponsorship on town property that supports youth sports or other activities. It's not as clearly defined potentially as some of the other things like you're highlighting. So, to address what you're talking about from a political standpoint, that is in here in this particular section of the ordinances. And at the end of the day, if there is any challenge to it, the town council can absolutely override anything that we go forward with.
So what if we because this is a one-year thing. One, I would just say if you're doing alcohol, you do drugs. Let me rephrase that.
I mean, what
If
are-
you're addressing alcohol, you address drugs too. But what if we just end it after nightclubs, that sentence? Because then that subjectivity is.
I mean,
out.
I don't disagree. I would also say we're missing one category, right? I mean, we have an ordinance coming in front of this council about where we're going to locate recreational marijuana shops if they so get
That's why I
here.
added drugs.
Yeah.
You better say marijuana.
It's a drug. It's still a drug.
It's still a drug. It's a drug.
But again, we're precluding a business. It might be, Greenleaf Incorporated, and they can't now sponsor.
They can't.
And I think the
drugs, they want to be.
Yeah, I think the rationale for that is because these are all located, except for some of the adult leagues, for children. Children are playing on these lots. So I think we have good footing for that purpose. And I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
But I don't know that I would want my little league team wearing T-shirts with a marijuana distributor on it.
But if they're going to stroke a $20,000 check, maybe the league wants
This
that.
is not talking
So the banners are associated within sponsorship level, so they're pre-designated, and I would offer that I think, sort of to Councilor Burke's point, I wouldn't foresee the leagues that we engage with going down that road. I realize hypotheticals make it, you open it up to it. But again, with this, part of the reason there's a one-year term on this is that we do want to evaluate whether this is effective as it is or needs to be refined as we go forward.
In that instance, I'm okay with it if it's going to come back in front of the council next year with anybody who is upset.
You could look at this through the lens of what would you allow or not allow in a school area?
Right. You're not going to allow that stuff.
Because of kids, and here we have kids, so.
So I would.
I don't disagree, by the way, I'm just.
Right, no, I know. I understand,
Yeah.
yeah, because that last sentence is very subjective,
That
last
sentence is
clause,
restricting, 'cause that's
yeah.
just opens it up to-
So I make a motion that we approve the banner policy before us with an amendment to read, no banner may endorse drugs and/or alcohol, tobacco, nightclubs, period. Strike the rest of that sentence and agree that it's for a one-year period to be reviewed in January of 2025.
Second,
And
discussion.
discussion. We're talking banners, we're not talking sponsors of teams, right? So, the kid comes out with, whatever, locals shirt, because that's who's sponsoring the team. This is totally separate from
They
the
get shirts and
banners.
banners, though.
There are different levels of sponsor, and again, I can't speak to every league because they have slightly different structures, but we as recreation are only looking at what sits on the fences.
Okay, that's what this policy is, just for fence, the fence banners.
It prevents the Daniels Field display from last year.
And I appreciate the amendment because, in the event that for some reason Stu doesn't like Humphrey's Building Supply, he can't rally a majority of the Recreation Commission to prevent them from sponsoring.
And to the other point, again, in fairness to what the leagues had said, I think recreation is very supportive of where we want to go with this being all green banners is the same. But I might suggest giving that 1 year
is
grace
that?
period, which isn't indicated in what you
Right,
said.
because they probably already have the banners.
So where's that at?
It's not currently
Color.
listed in here.
Oh, so if it's not identified, then there's no
Well,
restriction.
Color is.
Yeah,
Where?
the color is.
That's what
so
I'm
if
asking,
the
where?
council wanted to entertain that recommendation.
Then it's supposed to be dark green background.
No, I missed that.
I have a question on the dark green background piece. The logo itself can be whatever color. So like if I wanted my name to be in fuchsia, as long as it's on a dark green background, I'm good?
I wouldn't say that, but you could still have a banner like that, yep.
Okay. I'm not saying that that's the route I'm going, I'm just asking.
That might be a Christmas present.
So here's my suggestion, we vote on this motion, well, no, so, John, you seconded, are you okay with
Yeah.
a one-year moratorium on the banner color?
Yep.
So we're adding to that motion, Jeannie, a one-year moratorium on the banner color, the background color. Any other discussion?
My only question is, the original application back in, when? 18, 19, 17?
2009.
Was slated to go to zoning, and I know that you had forwarded this to the solicitor, so it doesn't need to go to zoning?
No.
Yeah,
Yeah.
all right,
This is on town property, it's all town properties, right?
Yeah.
beautiful.
Okay, motion's been made. Second.
Perfect.
All those in favor? Good night, Steve.
Can I take a bag?
Yes, please do.
You can take a bag.
Hey, it's dark green. You can hang it on your fence.
Oh, it's fuchsia. Anybody else that I should bring in? No. All right, so 10B, Councilor Janik. This is the resolutions from the consent agenda last meeting that she asked me put
Do I need to read
on the
these whole?
agenda. I don't.
Yes, start to finish.
No,
I'm kidding.
So,
They're part of, they're posted as part of the agenda.
Yeah, so B, C, and D were the ones that she asked us.
B, C, and D. So these were resolutions that came from the town of Burrowville, and I thought that Tiverton should support these three in particular. The first one was the resolution of the town of Tiverton related to the funding formula. This is for the schools, because in the new funding formula, they talked about a decrease in monies for towns like Tiverton, and we've already experienced a decrease in funding for the schools, and I don't think we want to go any further lower than we've already received, so.
All right.
Making a motion?
So
Well,
just,
why don't we do it all together? Right? Is that what you're thinking, Mike?
yeah,
Maybe we'll do them separately. Just do them quick. Just make the motion.
Okay, go ahead.
So I will make a motion that we support the vote on Resolution 2024-0007 to the members of the General Assembly to lower the high-cost special education category fund to 3 times and provide full funding in the future.
Second.
Motion made in second. All those in favor? The second one, Deb?
The second one is also from the town of Burrowville, and this is in opposition to House Bill 2024-H7382 and Senate Bill 2024-S2635 relating to cities and towns and zoning. And this is a discussion on making homes more desirable for short-term or seasonal rentals, which would possibly, quite probably, increase the cost of housing in Tiverton and make them more desirable for people buying them from out of town, out of state, to be used as rentals.
Exactly what it will do.
Deb made a making a
So-
motion.
So I will make a motion.
Do I have a second? Discussion.
so you know me with short-term rentals, and I agree with this logic to an extent, but this is only for unrelated. So if I'm renting only to families who might be 6 people to the family and I have a 2-bedroom, I can still do that. Because we're all related. Okay.
I think it also opens it up to more short-term rentals.
Well, that's what I meant.
Yeah.
That's what I meant, yeah.
So my question would be, not so much as it relates to short-term rentals, but we do have a handful of colleges and universities in this state. And the way that I read it is, this may be negatively impactful for, kids who go to Salve and rent a house together, and 6 people rent a 5-bedroom, 2 people double up. Now they can't do that if this goes through.
That's
And-
what they're trying to prevent. Have you been down around the URI and?
Mhm.
That's what neighbors don't want that. The neighborhoods,
That's what the whole thing is.
They don't want these things to turn into what becomes party houses or.
I moved a child,
8 college kids
Yeah.
living in a 2-bedroom flat.
I moved a child into a house down near URI, and it was potty central.
Having
The
been
entire street.
having been the most recent member of the council to have attended college, Yes, I support it. So I just,
And it will be your child someday.
correct.
You wouldn't want your
Sooner than I think, you know? So I want to be clear, so this would be opposing the amendment of one person per bedroom, correct?
Correct.
Okay. All right, I'm in favor.
Anybody else? All right, I need a motion.
I will have a motion.
Can't vote.
Oh my God, all those in favor?
Go get him.
Hey, I went to
Okay.
bed at 12 and woke up at 5.
And number 3, also from Burrowville.
This is from Burrowville?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
not Hopkins.
Hopkinton.
It's, okay.
In support
They
of
don't have these
allocate,
bridges.
in-
Maybe they have a small bridge.
in support of allocating funding for permanent safety barriers on Rhode Island's bridges over Narragansett Bay. And they do discuss in this resolution different ways of safeguarding these bridges. One that the Army Corps of Engineers did on the Bourne and the Sagamore bridges, and safety netting on Florida Skyway Bridge. And it's really showing a decrease in suicides from people jumping off the bridges. So I would like to support that, and I make a motion that we do support this.
Second.
Any discussion?
I just want to note that Florida Skyway Bridge, have you ever been on it? It's high, and I'm not afraid of heights, but I went over there once, and I was driving, and there was construction, so I had to stay on the water side, and I was white-knuckled over that, because it goes,
It's like Maryland.
it's between St. Pete and
That's-
Bradenton.
That's the one the cruise ship crashed into,
yes.
Doesn't Baltimore have one like that too?
Well,
yeah. Not anymore. And that's why Rhode Island's not going to get the 195 money.
Yeah.
Not the bridge tunnel, Chesapeake.
All right, motion second, all those in favor? Okay.
Thank you.
Rick's got a couple transfers.
Rick, I was gonna move you to the right, no,
No.
come on, Rick.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
I'll make a motion that we approve the transfers as requested by the director.
Second.
Motion's been made, how's that?
They're
Motion-
self-explanatory, so.
Motion's been made in second, all those in favor?
Thank you.
Thanks, Rick.
Thanks, Rick.
Tax assessor.
I'll give you the quick update on these. The letters went out. We have gotten very little commentary or requests.
You're about to.
But I think people are waiting to see what the tax rate is. So,
Mine went up, like,
no, a lot of them went up, but it's been eerily quiet.
Eerily quiet, formally. Formally eerily quiet,
yeah,
yeah,
it's on
yeah, yeah.
Facebook.
So, but we do expect to get the normal percentage of, issues to come in. But I think once the tax rate's established, we'll then have those issues.
For what it's worth, I have heard a number of complaints. Have not. I have heard a number of complaints.
So, and then, unless there's any other questions, I'll move to the next one on Juneteenth.
Yep.
Because it's a state law, we will adopt the following of Juneteenth. It is on a Wednesday this year, so at some point, we will either make a decision to be open, and if we are, we will have to pay time and a half to our staff, or we will be closed. So that decision
Sounds
has
like
not
we're gonna
been
be
made yet, but
closed.
more than likely, we will be closed.
Well, it's been part of the negotiation
has been.
process also.
Okay.
All right, this is me. All right,
How about,
this is me. Council President Tiverton, reminder of April 27th. It's not April 27th anymore, we all know that.
Correct.
We have a problem. The school committee says they cannot come May 4th.
Weird.
May 4th.
May 4th. Jerry can't come. Well, at first it was Jerry and Peter, now Jerry, Peter, the financial director, it's a, can't come now. I don't know-
Library can.
Yeah, I don't know what you want to do. Do you want to do the meeting without them?
Yes.
They've been asked repeatedly to attend these meetings. They're on a, they need to be engaged.
All right, but the question is, doing it without them, who's going to answer the questions we
Yeah,
might have?
I don't want to do it without them.
We have a lot of questions.
We have a lot of questions.
So when's the alternative?
Madam Chair?
What's the alternative?
The alternative.
What will they agree?
The alternative, no, I don't care. We're going to give them.
So to be fair, they did agree to the 27th, but they didn't
They
have
did.
us the information
No.
we needed.
At which we got the information today, but it's not all of it, is it, Chris?
You get some information.
We got
There are
11
some
calls.
things related to fund balance, Medicaid, and I think even an Assessor.
So what do we miss?
Where, well, they give you like, I'll give you, you asked for years 2019 through current. I'll give you on Medicare, on 2019, let's see, let's take 2020. Expenditures, 675,580. Expenditures for structural deficit. Doesn't tell you what they are.
Yeah, it's not what we really want.
And it's the
but
same thing on
we're
fund
never gonna
balance.
get what we really want.
So, Madam Chair, if I could just offer a thought for the 4th, and you know me, I'm not in favor of additional meetings just to have meetings. I think holding May 4th, whether or not the schools show up, would be beneficial for this body to at least meet and go through what was provided, and perhaps we can, at least in a public forum, hear from members of the public who are concerned about the school's budget, as well as echo or come up with what our questions should be.
There are parents that have been going through this that were not able to ask the questions last night.
Is there a date that they
No,
are
they're not
available?
giving me any dates.
They're
so
probably not going, I mean,
What I'm thinking is, how about Tuesday
Yeah.
the 30th?
Is that the holiday weekend?
no.
This April 30th,
Oh,
next
April.
Tuesday.
Tuesday,
4 hours, we're out of here. We'll start at, what's the earliest you guys can start?
5, 6?
Want to do 6?
Ideally 7 for me, but
Or 7 to 10? I mean, okay, so I want to,
do they have a meeting that day?
no.
Okay.
Next Tuesday. Okay, so I'm gonna read you some dates. Town council adopts a preliminary unified budget, a preliminary only, by May 13th. But we really don't have to have, town council adopts a preliminary one on the 13th, but then the May 30th
It's the final.
is the final, I mean, the June 30th. So we can do it, and it's preliminary, and then we can meet with them again, right, between May 13th and June 30th, if we need to. So
One
if we
meeting's
meet-
not gonna cut it.
So if we meet with them for only 3 hours, decide what we want to do just preliminarily.
On the 30th? April 30th?
I would rather do it on a Saturday, because we have a lot more time to do it on, but
So I appreciate wanting to have them here. At the same time, John's idea of, well, at least let us
Okay.
have some open discussions, because we've not been able to.
Right.
And if there are others who want to give us input, because again, while we can only come up with a bottom line figure, we don't, when we do that, we don't just arbitrarily say, okay, here's your dollar amount, and you, yes, they'll have to go figure out, but I think we can still, just like, you know, with Congress and the like, you know, they will suggest things. You know, here's where we think you should look to. And if they don't take it, that's up to
you
them.
never
And if-
know. They could all of a sudden, when we say it's May 4th, show up. I don't know.
Can we offer them April 30th?
You know,
I
that's
just
gonna
put
be
it,
really tight for all, I don't know.
I need time to digest this.
Yeah.
Well,
that's
the other
it.
thing with this, didn't we ask for 5 years?
Yeah,
There's not budget to actual here
No.
for 5 years.
they still didn't give us
They
what we
did.
want.
And that
Yeah,
should
they
be
did.
a fairly,
No, they didn't.
I have not seen a budget to actual for
19,
5
20,
years.
21,
I-
22, 23. They did it from 2019 to 2024.
My other problem is, last night at the meeting, I was there and Deb was there.
I watched
They have a
it.
new budget now.
What?
Well, they have,
Isn't this it?
I didn't see what you gave me,
So it's
because you just handed me this, right?
it was on the table when you came in. Take that clip.
Deb,
what we got
I just want to ask Deb a question. Deb, where do you see budget to actuals for those periods?
Yes.
I don't remember seeing that. If I'm wrong, and I'm happy to
Well,
admit it.
I went to the financial meeting last night, and
Yeah, I don't think we got what you got at the financial meeting. Yes, this is it, Chris. This is it,
Okay, so,
because it's 34 now, 3413.
so, what I would suggest is, and along with what Mike is saying, that give me the chance to go through this and send them we gave them a letter on Monday under APRA asking for those things. Those items that are deficient, I want to let them know that they are deficient, but they're still required to provide them.
That's what my problem is. Tuesday is too short. I'm not gonna have time to. I don't believe the time I'm spending on the school budget and that our own.
And Chris, you'll be
Our
able,
own is done.
Like that form there, if you go through that, you'll see that they took a chunk of money and did structural deficit. But what did you pay?
Yes.
Right.
But we've already determined that there is no structural deficit because the auditor said so.
Right, but
so.
So what are they spending the money on?
And my question also is, and I haven't, I got this, I saw that I got this late today in my email, so I haven't had the time to open up that email. But even here, I see Assessor from the Excel grants, which this is their Excel grants document, which is what they have to put their application through. But I want to see where it was built into the budget and where it was taken out of the budget. So these certified nurse assistant for ESSER 2 of $7,616. So they were hired, must be fully expended by 9/30/23. So that position should be gone. And I want to see that position is gone.
What position is it?
The certified nurse assistant.
It's not gone. They talked about it last night.
But it should be. Those were one-time funds.
That's
So-
what they discussed last
No,
night.
that's, if I remember correctly, personnel-wise, she is actually now the school nurse for middle school. The prior person left.
That wasn't said last night.
But was it, so if she simply was promoted to an open position that was already there, that's one thing.
Yeah, so what happened was the current nurse, as far as I know, was the CNA. She was the backup nurse. During COVID, the nurse left, she moved in that spot.
Can I just speak?
That's one
A little
example.
word of warning here, we're now going into, we're
We're
supposed to be just talking
All
about
right,
the
so the
dates.
meeting's
Okay.
May 4th, so
Sorry.
we can discuss all of this.
Openly, we can have all this discussion on May
So we're
4th.
going to take out the 30th then.
Yes, May 4th. And I also told the parents they may come and speak and share some information with us.
I think that would be beneficial to have members of the public
Because they've
because,
been doing a lot of research.
I am gonna have this put up on our website so they can see.
thank you.
Yeah. I have a picture of everything they were cutting.
I don't think there's any names in it.
All right. All right, so then the next thing, discussion and possible vote regarding the revenue. Do we have that yet, or are we gonna wait till Denise?
Till Denise gets back.
We also need another meeting with Denise also.
We do.
But, we'll discuss
We,
that.
I have, and I will have that for your next meeting,
Okay.
because I did computate a
And
tentative rate.
I went through the budget, and we really hit almost everything.
So, and I also have here for you, and I'll give it to you tonight, for you to look at before your next meeting, the boards and commissions and civic activities of what they requested, not what I level from them.
Okay.
So, but you can take that on with you, that's not for voting.
And, since Mike is here with us, legal services. Do you want to?
Big increase.
You didn't ask for one. Okay.
I didn't get one.
Big cuts, Mike. We gotta fund the schools, buddy.
Yeah, I'm sorry. So,
Pro bono.
we increased it. When did we increase it by? You all right? All right, so is everybody okay with this number?
Until we get to the final budget.
Yeah, I know, but I just want to, I'm crossing out stuff so I know what we have very little left. I don't think it's just all Denise's stuff.
Madam
So
President?
what we have left is treasurer insurance, pension plan, audit of town accounts, unfunded liability, social security, and unemployment security. And that's all Denise, so we need a meeting with Denise.
And the boards and commissions.
Now, Chris, what you've got there, is that the updated everything?
This is just the boards and commissions, and
Okay.
I will give you an updated one.
Yeah, we'll get an updated one May 4th. All right. Did you want something?
I just want to confirm if you are scheduling a meeting for April 30th, or was that off the table now?
It's just May 4th.
May 4th. This Saturday's off, and so the next meeting on the budget would be May 4th.
May the 4th be with
And
you.
then
Star Wars gear only.
I won't be here for the next town council meeting, but you still have time to, look at more things too. because
So May 4th is, or 9.
May 4th is in the morning, so it's
Is
9,
there a
not
giant
7
book
in the
produced for
morning.
this or no?
So what?
Is there a budget book that was produced? Okay, that's fine.
9 o'clock.
Just trying to finish.
All right,
I
I'd
like
like to
it.
entertain a motion. Okay. I'd like to entertain a motion to go into executive session, Town Administrator, Rhode Island, GL 46582, collective bargaining, IBPO, number 406, negotiations, Town Administrator, Rhode Island, 4246582, collective bargaining, update on IAFF, local 1703 negotiations, Town Administrator, RIGL 4246582, collective bargaining, update on Teamsters, 251 negotiations. I don't think we need that, but we'll. And town solicitor quarterly status update on all pending litigations against the town of Tiverton. Do you have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Yes.
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 It's not that late, it's only 10.
I would prefer to get it over with.